Clint. I am back for another episode of Versus. Yeah. Let's see here. We got a crazy show tonight. I apologize for the late start. We watched Candyman, and it let out a little later than we anticipated. But today we got a great show. We're going to be talking about Candyman. We have got Fear Street that we're going to be talking about, the hit slasher series on Netflix. We're also going to be talking about a little bit about Beverly Hills Cop. We'll be talking about the new Spiderman No Way Home trailer that dropped. We're going to talk a little bit about Scarlet Johansson and her battle with Disney. And we're going to talk about Shang-Chi versus Spider-Man versus Venom versus the Eternals. And we will wrap it up with a little Ghostbusters talk. But before we get into anything, let's get the rest of the gang in here. Let's see. Hey!
Hey-o!
Hey! What's up, guys? We got Dustin Stroud right over there. Right over here, we got Curtis down there. And then over there, we got Budro Partida, my favorite director, right there. So, Budro, I want to publicly thank you. Budro had an extra ticket. I got this wristband thanks to him. And we got to go in and check out the new Candyman movie, and we're gonna talk all about it because it was super fun.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. Let's see here. What do we got first? What's first on the? Oh, before we get started, as usual, guys, like, share, subscribe, click that notification bell, and let your friends know about us so we can get a bunch of subscribers and we can get monetized and get rich and just sit here and talk about movies and stuff all the time and not actually have to work. Dustin was just talking about getting FU money, and he's like, "Oh, the world's gonna see a different side of me."
So the real me. They can see any side of me they want to.
I was gonna say we can all get rich except Dustin.
Yeah,
like we gotta kind of. We can't let that happen.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm pretty much got the whole Darth Vader thing like ready to roll. I just need a couple more, Skrill bots in my pocket.
Skrill. Do people know what Skrill bots are? Is it just?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's better that they don't.
Yeah. What's this?
They can misuse it.
People are Googling Skrillbot right now. All right. Well. Oh shit. That's not even.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a new segment called Fucking Rock.
Let's get the DJ air horn. Well, first let's give me a buzzer for hitting the wrong music, and then
drop the bass.
That is the Candyman alarm. That means it's time to start talking about Candyman. So I got to put up my screen that says Candyman.
Yeah.
2, yes. Candyman. I spent a lot of time putting that one together. Oh, look at there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. See that? See how good, see how nice that is?
Not to be confused with the Pornhub candy with
come
an
on, dude.
eye, man.
Budro, what are your initial thoughts? What did you think of Candyman?
Man.
And we're doing spoiler free. We don't want to spoil this because it doesn't come out till next week. But we'll just let people know if it's good or not. And
dudes, but clarify because there's a whole bunch of Candymans for the Candyman.
There is.
People that are into that.
So well, first off, I want to say thank you to the Austin Horror Society for hooking us up with some free passes for tonight's show. So thank you all very much. And really, what this movie kind of did is kind of like in the same vein of like Halloween, with Halloween and then Halloween 2018.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily like a direct sequel kind of thing. It's kind of like another chapter.
They did say the spirit of. I thought that was really tasteful way of like.
Yeah, and it does. Now the thing is, I don't know if it really. I don't remember watching any of the sequels. Like
I do.
I think. Like it was. What are they called?
Well, there's Candyman 2. That's just Candyman 2.
No, it's Farewell to Flesh.
Oh, Farewell to Flesh. That's right. But the Day of the Dead one was like my favorite one.
I never saw any of those, or at least I don't remember.
It was cool. He like goes after his descendant, which would be his like daughter, the descendant of his daughter. The whole Candyman thing is really interesting to me because I'm a huge like Clive Barker fan, and it's from the short story The Forbidden or whatever. Clive Barker. And it's rad. The reimagining of it, the whole idea of like forbidden love is a cool concept, as we'll get into probably later with the Fear Street thing or whatever. But
I thought you were going to say Spiderman.
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, Budro, is the Sly Fox Club, is that the club is that what they're called? The people
No,
that
I have no idea. I think that's from the movie. I think that's the movie group. So like,
Oh, okay. So I want to put their name up on the screen for a little bit. So what do they call it?
no,
Austin Film?
the Austin Horror Society.
Austin Horror Society. Okay, cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. And Budro, finish your initial response. I'll mute Dustin's mic for a
Sorry,
second, just so you
brother,
can get a more than
No,
a
I
10-second spiel.
I think it was a really well told, it was a taut like thriller that was very smart. It was very conscious of like current times with, social turbulence, with racial tensions and stuff like that. So, which coming from Jordan Peele as a producer, you can kind of, we kind of walked into that, kind of expecting that a little bit, but it was very well done. It wasn't in your face. It wasn't completely preaching it over you, and it wasn't banging you over the head with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was really well done in how it was crafted. It was a really tight story, hour and a half, just about an hour and a half. It really, the basic premise of this film as a continuing chapter of the whole Candyman series was that the original one was kind of like about this urban legend ghost story. Well, in this film, it's more about how it's about how it's an ongoing oppression, and it's a continuation of kind of oppression and really just the way that the treatment of people, and how it's an ongoing thing through the vehicle of an urban legend. So it was kind of, and it was kind of really smartly, intelligently told, and it was entertaining at the same time. And it was, it didn't have a bunch of cheap jump scares. It was horror. It was classic horror, and that's what I think really made it really entertaining. So, I mean, by all means, I think it's worthy of, go check it out. It was really cool. It's really clever. I think. I mean, Clint, what do you think?
I think you nailed it right on the head. It was, especially people our age. This is a movie that we grew up with, and actually scared the crap out of us the first time. So just jumping back into that world was really cool. And I also think you're right about racial tensions and things in current events that are going on. They managed to incorporate it in an interesting way. It was just really good storytelling, I thought, without giving anything away. But I thought it was great. I didn't know if it. Here's the deal. There was no reviews this week from anybody. Usually you have movies, they get released to screeners go to people that do movie reviews, and if you don't hear anything the week of, there's something wrong. Like usually it's a stinker, you know what I mean? And I thought, I had secretly inside, I didn't even want to say anything, but I was like, I have a feeling this is not going to be good just because we haven't heard a peep, and it was great. I enjoyed it.
I do know that there were some other press people there in this screening, so I don't know if that has something to do with it or not, but I do know that there's some people that were sitting behind us that were actually watching it for the first time. So, so I think, now that it's kind of,
you guys were the first wave. You guys were in the first wave of screening.
And I think this movie was about to, it was supposed to come out last year, I think around this time, and obviously COVID shut all that down. So now that it's out, or, now that it's finally emerging, I think, it got a chance to marinate, in the kind of social kind of movie film fandom. And now people are like, holy shit, I really want to go see this now that stuff's opening back up. So I totally think, I don't know if you want to say 2 thumbs up, 5 stars, whatever the hell you guys do. But,
we'll do 4 thumbs with both of our combined thumbs. That makes 4 thumbs right there.
I mean, yeah, go check it out. I think it was really awesome. Great story, tied in really well with the original. It was just great storytelling. Like how Clint put it, it's great storytelling.
Hey, Dustin, how many books, Candyman books, are there? I didn't even know.
Not Candyman books. It comes from a Clive Barker like short story, and
Yeah.
it's called The Forbidden. It's basically, and Curtis is. I know Kurt. I don't think we've talked about this before, but I think I maybe saw a poster or somehow it came up one time in discussion. But Candyman is sort of a story about a stratified, you know, kind of post-colonial, you know, story about look into Black America. I guess the original Candyman character came from like a wealthy background. They sent him to the best schools. He's an incredible artist, and then he had a forbidden love, and you know, they basically lynched him, cut his hand off, and that's why he has like the hook and all that stuff.
What's cool is they mention several iterations of Candyman in this thing, like in this movie, which I guess is a little bit of a spoiler, but that's all the spoiling I'll do. But it was cool because it wasn't just the one that we know from the '90s. You know, what were you gonna say, Curtis?
No, that's what I wanted to ask you about. It's not a spoiler because they in the trailer they specifically tell you his new origin.
Right.
So I was gonna see, like, I mean, without, of course, spoiling. Like, how did, like, it sounds like y'all are kind of going into it a little bit without, but like, how did they square that kind of?
It's basically they basically try to say that, you know what, there's the original Candyman was what kind of started like this series of oppression, and the different iterations of the different Candyman characters were in different times.
Is it like a Ghost Rider?
Yeah, exactly. And then basically how each time it happens, it's because of something, and how it's ongoing oppression that brings about a new iteration of the character.
Ooh, that's
so
it is like Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance. It's like it's like a conjuring of like the wrath, bringing down the wrath of Candyman.
Exactly.
And the
I like that.
The other fun thing is that like you know how kids are, teenagers, like you can't help but not want to go and do it, and because you don't believe in it, you know what I mean? And just like the last one, you know what I mean? You get to see a bunch of fun bloody scenes, so it was good.
Yeah, had a great amount of gore, had a great amount of scare, had great. You know what I really liked is, in other horror films, the classic deal is where usually, you know, you see the girl opening the door to the cellar door, and you know everybody's yelling, "Don't go down there!"
Yeah,
you know, that kind of thing. This film is very meta about stuff like that.
Cool.
It's really self-realized, and it's like, you know what? We're not going to play to that trope. You know, we're going to be a little bit smarter than that. And so I think that's what makes it's really elevated. It's using elevated storytelling.
Yeah, Peele's really good. I know he had some writing on this, the meat of the writing on this, and he's really good at zigging when people zag.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's really entertaining and it's really fun, you know, and it's like, it's a great horror film, but it's also at the same time going, hey, there's still a little bit something underneath here that you need to pay attention to.
Cool.
And I think that's really cool.
I'm super excited.
Well, that's good too, because that's what the original Candyman like was like. I enjoy the sequels as well, depending, but the original one was just a good film. Like, and it doesn't. I mean, it didn't get enough probably horror popularity until it kind of caught on, and then also just as a film, like enough recognition. I don't think just not as a horror film, as a film. You know, a lot of horror films start with these great stories, and they're fantastic, and these really deep thinking things, and they turn into slashers or whatever the hell they turn into. You know, but the original film is so thought provoking. You know that. I don't know. I'm glad they went back to its roots.
Yeah, I remember seeing the first one in the theater, and like and you know, we're kids back then. It's like, dude, you know, turn off the light. Come on, dude, let's do it. It's just like when you're a kid doing Bloody Mary in the mirror, and you're like, hell no, I'm not doing that. Like it's pretty fun. It's fun, and I still wouldn't go say, you know, I'll say Beetlejuice all day long, but I wouldn't say Candyman.
Yeah, I want to hang out with Beetlejuice. That's
That's
fine.
what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. I'm still waiting. There's
Ghosts with the most,
there's
baby.
still talk about another Beetlejuice happening. I've seen some fan made posters and stuff, but they're still working on it. They have from what I understand on Beetlejuice, they haven't found a script quite yet that is worth doing.
They should bring back the OG cast, man.
Oh, that's the
That'd be
plan.
awesome.
Gotta be.
They're all Otho's
Yeah,
no longer with us.
yeah.
But
Jack Black is Otho.
there you go.
Being even more over the top Otho.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's actually perfect
Yeah.
casting for that. Oh, that'd be good. Yeah. I saw a friend of ours that posted a poster of that, and so I went down the rabbit hole looking it up, and I was like, yeah, it's not quite I guess it's in development, but it's not quite in production or anything like that. So
I mean, Keaton's dusting off the bat suit. He ought to dust off the leisure suit.
yeah, he's
Get
in.
in there.
Why not? They're all in. Gina Davis, Baldwin, all of them are
Somebody
in
throw
for it. So I'm
Gina
like,
a frickin' bone.
yeah.
She's like,
Honestly, on our conversation earlier about movies that you can't believe don't have a sequel, like that should definitely be on the list.
Mhm.
I literally can't believe that it doesn't have a sequel. Might be good that it doesn't, but I just can't believe that it doesn't.
Yeah, if Anchorman has a sequel, that should have a sequel.
I think Dune is going to be the sequel to Beetlejuice. That's why it's taken so long to come out. It'll be like Beetlejuice riding one of the sandworms.
Well, Budro, I got a question for you, man.
Yeah.
Right here. Maybe. Yeah, my computer's dragging.
Look at Curtis's badass poster he's got
There you go.
behind him.
Candyman 1 versus 2. What's your thoughts?
Candyman? Candyman?
Can
Asian
Dynaman?
man.
Did I misspell that? Let's see.
Can Dynaman?
Uh-oh.
Everything going to be Irie. That's Meet Joe Black line.
Bam!
I don't know, man.
Oh, no!
I guess
No, it's really screwed up.
Now it looks like I did this.
Text.
I'm like a caveman.
There
I'm a
it is.
simple caveman.
I'm just a
I'm just a
caveman. That's my
caveman.
favorite thing in the world. Whenever I get I'm like condescending as somebody more intelligent than I am. I mean, I'm just a caveman. I'm afraid of your flying machines. Your modern ways frighten me. Phil Hartman,
the good old
caveman
days.
lawyer.
Yeah, those are the good old days. Back when with the good SNL. Back in the old days. So which one did you like better, the first or the second Candyman?
Man. I don't know, man.
If you take
they're both-
sentimentality out of it,
If I take what out
the
of it?
sentimentality, you know what I mean? Like
And then the nostalgia factor.
The
You can't do
nostalgia
that. But
factor,
you
the-
just can't do that.
I
Dustin.
you know
can't
what?
remember.
I have to go. I think I'm gonna have to go with the new one because the new one kind of, the first one kind of had like this. And I know this is a bold statement. I mean, the first one had like this original ghost story, that this urban legend, this folklore that was really cool. But this one kind of gave us the entire story from back then to now,
Mhm.
and it kind of explained everything, and it kind of really brought a lot of the meat of the entire film and the legacy of the film.
Yeah.
Really, it kind of brought it all out for everybody now. Plus, the fact that it was so intelligently told through using modern, and contemporary mechanics of racial tension and social dynamics, stuff like that. I mean, it was just so much more complex in its storytelling that I think, as a standalone film, the original was amazing by all means. But I mean, I think this one was so overly well done that I'm going to say I think this one's better.
As a filmmaker, how was it visually? How was it shot? Like what?
Oh,
were
it's beautiful.
the
It's
choices and
beautiful.
stuff. Really good. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was really well shot. Really, that's what I'm saying. It was a really tight story. It was really well told. It didn't drag.
Mhm.
I think this, this filmmaker, she's a young African American. I think she's only 25, 27, something like that. This is, I think, her first big film. And this is Jordan Peele just saying, you know what, we're going to take a chance on this young talent.
Flexing.
And
dude. He's just
and it
flexing
was-
in a horror. He's like a horror flexer. He's just like, oh,
dude, it was
I like
great.
that.
And I think it was, I mean, even just the opening credits were told it was entirely shot a cityscape where the camera was upside down and it just pointed up at the night sky, and it just dollied along a night sky, and the credits, and it just went over that, and that just created an eerie atmosphere to start the film. It was so I got to give a big props, man. I mean, nothing to, obviously not taking away anything from the original. I think the director was Bernard Rose, and he did a couple other decent films, but I have a feeling that this director, and I don't know her name, I think it's Nakia something, she's going to be taking off, and I think she's going to be next level filmmaker of not just horror, but like as a filmmaker, period. So I can't endorse it enough, man. It's great.
I'm stoked.
That scene in the intro that you're talking about pulled me in. I was instantly looking, and I was starting to wonder: is there a corpse laying in the back of a pickup truck? And they're gonna pull out, and you're gonna see a corpse, and so it's like that's what they've been driving around, and that's the perspective. Or so, it was really neat the way they did that intro. You see all like Chicago buildings, but it looks like when I don't know if back when we were kids and you could ride in the back of pickup trucks, and you'd lay down in the bed of the truck and just look up while the truck was going. That's what it was kind of like. It was pretty cool. Curtis, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say I can imagine that, because nowadays I don't want to say they're allowed to do so much more, but that's kind of true when it comes to studios, because apparently originally in the first one, Tony Todd and Michael Madsen's sister, I can't remember. I apologize, I can't remember her name.
Virginia.
But the main character, yes,
Virginia
Madsen, were supposed to kiss, and the studio was fine with gory murder everywhere, but they're like, wait, y'all can't kiss. And they cut it's like the scene exists, they just cut
Which
it.
is weird, because
And
that's
so,
totally what the story is about in the first place. Yeah.
And it's 92, man.
Yeah.
1992.
I know.
God.
Yeah, I'm not
So,
sure when
they can tell the
Jungle
story
Fever
more
came out,
thoroughly.
The director's name is Nia DaCosta.
Cool.
Nia.
And Tony Todd or whatever, he totally signed off on this too. He was like on record a couple of times of saying it's
Now you don't have
cool,
to go ahead. I'm sorry, Dustin.
No, I'm all done. I was just saying
No,
he was stoked on it too.
I was gonna say you don't have to spoil anything, but I assume he has to. Does Tony make a cameo?
We're not gonna spoil
You don't have
anything
to
in this
tell what
movie.
it is,
Well,
but
but
fine.
what I will say,
has
how we liked how how they told the entire legacy of the story,
Nice.
much like Fear Street does.
Okay. I
when
gotcha.
when you watch the whole trilogy.
Hey, that's a pretty good segue. I don't know if you did that on purpose.
There was maybe, perhaps.
Do that on purpose.
It's funny. There was a no spoiler review thing on the John Campea show, and somebody asked a question, and he just changed the subject, just like I did.
When I get
and then I knew what the answer was. So
when I get FU money, it's going to be all spoilers, baby.
So
Spoil.
Fear Street. Let's talk about it.
Sweet.
Now it's Fear Street time. How did you guys feel about this show? There's a lot of buzz about Fear Street, and I hadn't seen it, and Curtis brought it up, and I go, man, I've been meaning to catch this, so I watched all 3 in 2 days. I super enjoyed it. Because Clint likes everything. That's what they say.
That's
Clint
what they
likes
say.
everything. So what did you guys think of this show? And Budro, you already had seen this a while back, huh? When it came out.
I mean, yeah, I saw it I think when the first 3 weeks I think that was very clever marketing by Netflix, releasing it in staggered weeks, as a serial kind of deal. But I mean, I think what's a great thing now is people that are our age that really enjoyed these types of films back in the 80s and stuff like that, in the 70s. We are now that age where they can make those films now. And so I think they are really, I think they're really doing a good job of, what I really enjoyed about these movies was this little trope and this little factor
Right.
and this little keynote of music and this amount of gore. And I think that's what this filmmaker, who also is a female filmmaker, she did a really good job of including all the classic tropes
Mhm.
of actually, and then secondly, and I know that we're all pretty much around the same age. She, with the first one being set in the '90s, included in a pretty fun, awesome soundtrack. That everybody
Yeah.
was like,
Oh,
and granted, they were really pushing it,
The
but
Pixies was
Very
Yeah.
all over it.
Dude,
yeah,
Yeah, the thing about this show that to me it's like if you mixed Scream with Friday the 13th,
Yeah.
and like Riverdale or like Stranger Things, you know what I mean? All kind of mashed together into
Mhm.
one thing.
I love me some mall porn. The latest, like, upcropping of like shows where like Stranger Things, Star Cross or Starcourt Mall, and Wonder Woman 1984, and this one. And it's like I was just kicking around. They should call it Fear Street 1994. Malls are dead and so are you. Like I was like, are malls really dead? And this is like us like kind of subconsciously mourning them,
It's their obituary.
because yeah, like we're it's definitely a part of all of our childhood, but that shit is not coming back probably. And but I love it. I love the fucking beginning of this with the and I love Maya Hawke too. And they're like,
Mhm.
when they're like bringing down the gate or whatever, and you hear ding, ding, I'm like, oh shit. Do they have like Wes Craven like propped up in an old folks home somewhere, like being like insure and like making him like do this scoring this, that's not the Trent Reznor, soundtrack or whatever.
It's Marco. I think his name's Marco Beltrami. The guy that scored the Fear Street trilogy
Mhm.
actually scored Scream.
Okay.
So it's the same guy. And so he actually did a
Damn.
lot of horror films. So he actually did a lot of horror films in the '90s. So that's why it has a lot of that same kind of like undertones
Yeah, I'm a
and audio.
sucker for the random piano
Oh
spikes,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. So, but I mean, they were great films. I really like how, I really, really liked the first one. I thought the second one was great. The third one with what was it, like the Salem witch trials kind of
Yeah.
feel.
1666.
Yeah, I thought that was clever. I thought how it went back to like that kind of like hotel, was it Motel Hell and all that stuff, and
Mm.
so it was really cool. And then how it jumped back to the '90s. I really liked how it just wrapped it all up. So I think they
Yeah,
were really cleverly done,
it's
and
kind of like
they're
a Back
gory.
to the Future, throwback, like, Marty, we need the hand. We need the hand, Marty. They like kind of jump back and forth. That was cool.
I thought it was kind of weird that they. I thought it was kind of weird that they used the actress from the '90s in 1666, even though she's not supposed to be her. But they, you know what I mean? They used her. She acted it. She was Sarah Fear, but it was the same girl. It was weird how they used the same characters in the past. I thought that was kind of weird.
It bugged me at first too. I got to be honest, but I eventually like suspended disbelief, and she's a good actress, and her performance eventually overtook the kind of clunkiness, the clunky feeling. They did tie it in the second movie out, or is it the first movie? I can't remember, where she's like looking down, like they blur into. I'm cramming for this show, like
Yeah,
they blur into each other. But
it's just always weird when you have like, I don't know, some sitcom or some show, and then they decide to do a Sherlock Holmes episode, and then like the
musical episode.
main actor ends up being like Sherlock Holmes, and then and it's like, that's just weird to me. I don't know. I never liked that. It's like, just give us the different actor to play that, but it all works. But actually, it makes sense because she was having she did touch the thing and was and was having a vision of what she went through. So I guess it makes sense. But anyway.
She
Pretty
soaked it
rad
all
actress.
up through that hand.
Yeah, totally.
She was living through her, I guess.
Yeah,
and it kind of all made sense bringing all the other actors back and stuff like that. At first I was like, we're doing this, but then I'm like, all right, the writing's good enough, the performances are good enough. I mean, horror you got to suspend disbelief anyway. I mean, when I watched Lone Wolf McQuade as like a kid, is that the one? Which one's the one where? No, which one's the one where the guy's like can't die, and he like kicks him a million times, and he kicks him down a well.
I have
It's
no
like a
idea.
Chuck Norris. It's like the dude gets like shot up with something, and Chuck Norris is like fight. It's like
Is it Remo Williams?
it's not Remo Williams. That was my one I was trying to remember last time. I'll Google it in a minute and scream it out randomly like I did Remo Williams.
I knew it. Remo
Yeah.
Williams.
Remo Williams.
That's the name for any
Yeah.
name of the show we can't remember. It's Remo Williams.
It's fun. Let's talk Budro. You're a filmmaker. I feel like you're being underutilized.
I feel like Curtis is trying to say something.
Oh yeah, sorry, Curtis.
It's okay.
No, that's all right. So I was kind of on the opposite end. So the first two really didn't impress me that much. The third one is what drug me in, and it was even before I knew. I didn't know they were going to go back to the original story. So I kind of want to watch it again now, knowing that they go back. I'm a big fan of The Witch.
Yeah,
Came out.
totally.
I mean, what? I don't know. Maybe it might be 3 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago now. But anyway, but that the Salem stuff, or well, it wasn't Salem, it was Ohio, but that really drug me in. The originals, I mean, or the 1 and 2, they were definitely good, but like they were obviously playing off a bunch of things like that, and like we talked about, and it was cool. But whenever it got to the third one, it seemed more like its own thing, and I really liked that. And then jumping back to the originals, I wasn't expecting it all. I knew they kind of would wrap the story up, but jumping back that much, I really didn't expect at all. And yeah, it kind of made me appreciate 1 and 2 more. So I want to go back and rewatch those.
Yeah. I expect you guys, Budro and Curtis, to become buddies because y'all are both big horror fans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah. Well, here I got one. Let's see here. Come on. My laggy computer. It's taking a second for the screen to change, but here we go. Boom. Huh. So 1994 versus 1998 versus 1978 versus 1666. What do you guys think?
I'm going with 94. That's me.
You going to 94?
I thought the 1978 one was my favorite because I loved every single song on there, and I'm like a sucker for the earlier Friday the 13th. Not that the later Friday the 13th aren't awesome in their own right, but the earlier Friday the 13th
Come on, Dustin, pick a year, dude.
But I honestly think that 94, after it all was pulled together, was like I'm like, shit, I don't want to like it more, but I like it more.
I think you know what?
Tonally
Bread
though,
slicer.
honorable mention, tonally, 66.
Mm-hmm.
The tone of it was so radically different during the like Hester Prym era of like they were telling the witch thing that threw me for a minute. So it really was like,
it's definitely hard to pick. What did you think, Curtis?
It's definitely 1666 for me. I do want to rewatch them again, but and it might just be because that period in history just freaks me out. Like that's scary. Like just people being like, I saw him, Papa's it, witch, or whatever.
Witch!
People,
dude, I took a
can't
note
do
on
anything.
that. I took a note on that.
Witch.
Like Curtis, like the dude was like kind of spurned by her, and like she didn't go with him. She's like, she's a witch, burn her. I'm like, dude, that's like if every 13-year-old could like do that, there'd be like people hung and in flames like everywhere. She turned me down for the prom. Burn her. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, that freaked me out too, dude.
Thy balls are blue. She must burn.
Burn her. She's a witch.
You have turned my balls blue.
Yeah.
That was kind of a interesting little message they put in that, though, saying, it doesn't really matter if we're guilty or not.
Right.
With if the people think we're guilty, and it's like, it's kind of shocking. Makes you think about a lot of stuff. But for me, I thought I'm gonna have to go with '78. Like,
Nice.
it gave me a lot more of like Friday the 13th vibes. For me, that the kids making out and then they're like, they're about to die, that kind of a thing. You know what I mean? It just gave me those flashbacks from that. The 90s one reminded me of like Scream kind of, and then the other one, and I also get freaked out with religious, like witch kind of stuff like that especially possession movies. Those are the only ones. Slasher films, it's fun, you know what I mean? But possession,
The possession, you're like, that could barely happen.
that freaks me out. Yeah, that's
Totally like, yeah.
that freaks me out. So my pick is for 78. What were you gonna say, Curtis?
Well, no, I was just I had recently read an article too saying that they think now maybe the Salem witch trials occurred. There's a particular fungus that grows on rye bread.
Oh, I heard about that.
And they think that and they like all the witch trials like stopped after the rye bread season or whatever it was after a certain amount of time when the fungus would have died. So they think that now it might have been like a hallucinogenic fungus.
Everybody was
like,
tripping
really,
balls. She's
yeah.
casting spells on me, bro.
I actually hope that's true. Like,
wow. Maybe
I actually wrote a paper in high school about the Salem witch trials. So I actually did like a lot of research on like some of like the cause and effect, and I remember them that they were thinking that there might have been some external source that might have caused this insanity. So, and but I remember reading about that too. So I also love that period of time. Like I love. Do you guys remember a movie called Warlock?
Oh yeah, watched. There were several Warlocks. I think.
Yeah, there was 3 of them.
They're
So,
really good.
Oh man, I love that first one, and yeah, it's a little hokey how it's like I think Richard E. Grant as like the Warlock hunter, where he like says, he basically has an answer for everything, and he's like, you must put like the copper coins on his eyes and like there's always a little piece of folklore in every single thing.
Yeah.
When the flame burns blue, that means that there's a witch around, stuff like that. I love all those little tidbits. It's so great. But like I love the atmosphere of like those kind of movies too, and that all those Salem witch trials, all those the Salem and the witch, and just and even on the later part, like the newer
foggy and ambiguous.
Yeah.
Like
it's just great atmosphere, and so I can see how they're good.
I thought the 1978 one, when I took a note on it, actually, I think it had the most character development. Like as far as like developing the characters, like Alice is kind of a complex character. You know what I mean? Like in the 1994, there were like almost like cool John Hughes. I mean, obviously John Hughes was the 80s, but cool, like kind of like, okay, here's like some static characters. You've got this couple's a drug dealer. That's drug dealers. That's funny and quirky. But like Alice is like somebody that you could have known. I mean, she was a cutter. You know what I mean? She cut. You know what I mean? I knew people in high school like that, and Tommy, like and I guess the sisters too. Like really take a a character ride through that, and I appreciate that. They didn't have to do that, but I think that's what separates it from other movies, from that it's sort of throwing back to, is some of those movies didn't flesh out those characters like that, like they went ahead and did here. And maybe they needed to do it. Sorry, Clint, for exposition.
No, that's true. Sure, it's like I think like the redheaded girl that's like
Ziggy played guitar.
she's really cool. Like I like her she's from Stranger Things, right? Yeah,
yep.
I like her. Like I like that actress. Anyway, she's just likable. And then her perfect sister, also was really good. I don't know. Man, my mic just got really loud.
They were gory as shit. I think all of them were like, God damn, this is fucking gory.
The second one might have been the third one with the eyes all gouged out and shit. That was pretty gnarly.
That was pretty gnarly.
Since I'm a dad,
they killed a room full of kids.
Kids with eyes gouged out really bums me out. But I'm like, whoa, this is like, who brought the cloud? The third one.
I think like in part 2 is where that dude with the axe.
Everybody, you know how they had the badass 70s songs? I think they missed an opportunity. It should have been like, oh, Black Betty, lamb to lamb. Black Betty had a child, lamb, damn thing gone wild. They should just like he was like chopping through like everybody. I was like, oh my god.
They also said that one nerdy kid. The girl said something almost like you were like last week. You're like kick rocks, nerd,
Yeah,
or
totally.
something. She said something to the poor little fat nerdy kid, and I felt bad for him for that. And then 10 seconds later, he gets hacked up. It was gruesome. But trudging through the outhouse. Underneath the toilet, they're like in the cave, and it's like, oh, that's the outhouse. They're trying to climb out of a fucking shithole. Oh, it's so gross.
Well,
sorry, Mom.
One thing that I liked about I'm gonna go back to 1666, but in movies like that is it so we all know the kind of like scariness that like you're trapped in a small area, okay, like you can't get out, you're surrounded in the small area, you're trapped. Okay, that's known kind of scary. For me, like that 1666 time and certain other times, it's the same idea, but just the complete opposite. It's like when you can go anywhere, like just go, but you can't get away. Like you can. It's this opposite thing. Like you can run, just go run as far as you want, but you can't get away. So it kind of had that idea to me too. Like I just, I don't know. I really like that one.
What do you guys think about this? Wait for it. Boom.
Ooh, that's for me. It's easy. It's Friday the 13th.
Yeah, for me, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, nothing scared the shit out of me more than Friday the 13th. I lived in Belton, and like, there's just fucking woods everywhere.
Oh yeah,
and you're in the woods, and it's just like yeah.
If you could put Freddy Krueger into the mix, I'd pick Freddy because I was that movie scared me more than all of them when I was a kid.
So. I agree with that. Freddy scared the shit out of me. I remember watching Freddy Part 2, and man, I remember having nightmares. Like, I mean, yeah, Jason was scary, but it was kind of like, he's out in the woods. Just stay away from the lake.
Yeah, I don't go camping. I don't go camping.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but Freddy was like, if you just fall asleep, you're fucking dead.
You're done. The Johnny Depp getting sucked into the bed.
That was fucked up.
That was probably the scariest thing out of any movie that I ever saw when I was a kid. Because from then on, I would always imagine like I might get sucked into my bed if I fall asleep. It's gross. Curtis.
So Budro, you specifically said Freddy Part 2. Now, let me ask you this. Was it the dogs with the baby faces? Because that scared the shit out of me I didn't even watch Freddy Part 2 that much, but I always at the end when he's got the two dogs on the chain and they've got like baby faces or something. I was like, and looking at it now, it's like it's kind of a cheap effect. They're trying to get the masks off, whatever, but it's still like, oh, fuck those things, man. I'm like, that scared me.
I know what scared me was, I think what was where Mark Patton, the blonde kid, he's like in the hallway and like Freddy literally comes out of his body.
I remember that.
Like that, and I was like, oh shit, that's fucking weird. And then when Freddy shows up at the pool party, and he's in real life, it's like, oh man, even if you're not dreaming, he's gonna fucking get you, So like it's even like doubly bad. And then I just remember, and obviously the final jump scare of that film is when they're in the school bus, and then Freddy's glove comes out in the middle of the girl, just kind of explodes out of her hand, her chest. That just fucking like, oh shit, he's still alive, And then, but you know what? It traumatized me as a kid, and I was just like, so if you compare it to Jason, to Scream, and to I guess this new one, obviously Freddy was by far for me the scariest. That's what I think.
Out of these three, I'm gonna have to go with Jason.
Yeah.
Dude, anybody that just takes their time kicking your ass is fucking terrifying. Anyone that has no sense of urgency and is just like, yeah, sure, yeah, keep talking. Nope, can't bargain with me. Nope. Sorry. I have no empathy. That's like the fucking scariest thing in the world. It's like fucking Tony Soprano in a hockey mask. Just like completely
That's good.
psycho, no empathy, fucking,
Excuse me while I have some gabagool.
Yeah. There he is.
Hey, look at this fucking guy.
Yeah, this fucking
Well,
guy right
I would say I probably, when I was a kid, Freddy probably scared me more. I mean, that depends on the movie, of course. But as a franchise, I think Friday, even though there's a lot of bad ones out there, Friday's a more sustainable franchise because once you get into some later Nightmares, it's just, oh man.
He turned into like Bugs Bunny, like
Freddy.
Freddy
He really did.
It was a cartoon character.
I think it's Friday 3. Is that the Man Behind the Mask, the fucking
Alice Cooper,
Alice
baby.
Cooper song?
No, I think that's not part 3.
Or is that part 4? Tommy Jarvis. They go to the lightning hits his grave.
That's 5.
That's 5.
No.
Or is it 4?
Yeah. Because 4 is the mailman, right? Or the milkman or whatever. No, he's not.
Which one's the one?
He's an emergency driver. No, they kill him in 4.
4 is Corey Feldman, where Corey Feldman kills him.
Yeah.
And then 5 is the one where it's not even Jason. It's 5 is where they go to that camp and the EMT driver is the fat kid's father, and then so he ends up killing everybody at the camp, pretending to be Jason. That's why the hockey mask is blue and not red.
Yeah.
And then in part 6 they bring him back.
So that's what you're thinking of, Jason.
Is that the one where in the trailer they showed him and he has maggots all in his face?
That's 6, yeah.
I remember seeing that in that trailer and it was like, whoa,
fucking good.
maggots on his face. It was like
one thing that I can't remember who pointed it out, but it's so funny to me because I remember thinking this, like, we'd be like, as kids, like, they showed Jason's face in this one. And if you go back and watch them, they show his face in pretty much every fucking movie.
Yeah.
You see Jason's face in every damn movie.
He pretty much looks like Sloth from Goonies.
Yeah.
Have you heard the fan theory?
No.
That he is Sloth from Goonies? I fucking hope so.
That the reason, so Corey Feldman filmed Goonies and Jason 4, or we just said that 4, right?
He was in 3 and 4.
3, yeah, at the same time. And the reason that he was able to like communicate with Jason or whatever, it was the time that he spent with Sloth, and it's actually the same person. There's some YouTube videos on it. I don't know how much I believe, but
I
it's
like that.
Thanks for eating up my afternoon. I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole watching those. Well, this one's for Budro because you guys weren't there. What would you say between these? Come on, computer. Fear Street versus Candyman. Which one did you think was scarier or better made? Which one did you like better? We'll word it that way.
I think Candyman was a better film. I think Candyman was solid storytelling. I think Fear Street was more just of a kind of, it was an homage, I think. I think it was kind of a callback. I think it was just multiple uses of different callbacks with a good story. It was tied in with a good story. But as a film, I think Candyman was more of a solid, conscious effort of filmmaking. So that's what I would think. I mean, not to sound snobby or anything.
To me, well, for one, I'll say that Netflix has a history of making mediocre films. You know what I mean? A lot of times they'll pay somebody a bunch of money to be in it, and you see a big name, and when you finally get to watch the movie on Netflix, it ends up like, hey, it was better than cleaning my toilets, but it wasn't that great, but it I was off and it killed the afternoon watching this movie. I hate that. I hate that Netflix does that. I'm glad that they make movies and not just series, but I hate seeing a big name actor watching a mediocre movie and getting away with it just because you have a big name on there. I'm like, you tricked me, and I'm trapped because I'm gonna finish the movie and hope it pays off. And most of the time it doesn't on Netflix. I'm done bagging on Netflix now. But I will say, watching the series of movies, I was like, okay, this is gonna not be that great, but I'm gonna watch it because Curtis asked me to, and then it turned out to be good.
Thank you, Curtis.
Yes, thank you, Curtis. And
Good job.
yeah, and then I watched the second one, and then it was good. And I watched the third one; it was good. I was like, okay, no wonder there's such a buzz on this series. This show is well made. If I feel like it was the caliber of a good Netflix series, like a TV show series, not movie. And I guess it was. It was a TV show that were 3 2-hour episodes. Is what it was like. You know what I mean? It's pretty much. I think they could have chopped it up into 45-minute chunks and showed it like a series, and that would have worked too. But I'm glad they didn't, and I enjoyed the way they told those stories.
And I like the fresh faces.
Yeah.
You know, that was really cool. And the pacing was pretty good, except in a couple of places. And besides the Scooby-Doo shit that they did in the fucking first one, where they did like the baiting stuff at the high school, that was some Scooby-Doo ass shit right there. We're gonna make a trap and then blah 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 blah. I'm like, all right, Fred and them, let's see how this works out.
Like, let's get him into the bathroom, Scoob.
And I didn't appreciate the ginger hate. They fucking shoot the ginger kid. They fucking Maya Hawke's redhead half the time. The second one, they chop up the ginger lady.
Yeah.
I think the takeaway from the whole series is like, hey, witch killers, do better. Fucking A. Be like Bricktop from fucking Snatch. Feed them to pigs.
I did get a little cringy.
Feed the bones to pigs.
I did get a little cringy for a second because I'm in my 40s, and when you start seeing high school kids take their shirts off and stuff, it's like, I shouldn't be watching this. I was like, okay, they left their tops on at least. Oh, like it was.
I just go to IMDb and see if they're 18.
And then you go back.
Yeah.
Most of them are 18. It's fine. It's
Wait
fine.
a minute.
I was like, these are like sophomores in high school. I'm gonna fast forward this scene. It was getting a little weird.
I like the fucking the hey everybody, high school fight, like the fucking Anchorman style fucking high school fight. The cheerleader gets punched in the face. They had some cool, like you were saying, tropes. Some of the tropes were really cool. What were you gonna say?
That's
Curtis?
the thing. Well, that's the thing too. When they're on the bus in the first one, and the car's chasing them, like if this were an '80s movie, I guess, I would agree with it more. But like that car's chasing them, and then they open the door and they're chunking. Like the bus driver would be like, "Nope, all right, sit down,
Air brakes.
This is not happening. Sit down." Like, because most of the time, too, that's like a coach or a band director, like driving the bus. It's not like so they're gonna be like, no, I'm not losing my job because you want to be a jerk. Like, sit down.
When I was a kid and rode the bus in junior high, we used to pop the emergency door and jump out the back whenever we got home instead of going out the main door. We'd be like, psh, we'd be
the
there.
Driver was probably like, fuck.
Pissed. I'm sure he was pissed, but we would
my life.
We would jump out of the back and we're like, I'm going to use the badass door. It's pretty funny.
I had a lady that was working with me, and so she said she came from Pennsylvania, and she came down here to Texas when she was a kid. Well, she said in Pennsylvania that you sit on the bus, and I remember riding the bus as a kid, and so you sit on the bus and you sit there and you quietly talk, and then you go to school and you get off the bus. And then she's like, and then I moved to Texas. Then I get on the bus, and it's fucking Thunderdome. It's just like, she said in Pennsylvania, they would just straight up, like, if you were acting up, they would just like kick you off the bus, like wherever they are. They just stop the bus and you're off, like, and you don't ride it anymore.
That's some East Coast
shit. And I was
shit.
like, and that honestly, that's probably what we need to do because, man, they're crazy. I remember the buses just being like, oh God, wait till we get on the bus.
Well, I got I did some polling on social media, and for these movies. So I'm going to just share this stuff real quick. And I asked, wait for it. I feel like I should restart my computer, but that would end poorly. I said, are you excited to see the new Candyman? 100% on Twitter said they were excited. On Facebook, 69% said it was funny for a second. It was no, but then it all of a sudden climbed up. Let's see here.
69, dude.
69, dude. Yeah, so there we go. And then we're gonna
that poll is a booming.
Yeah, nice.
I blew that thing up. There we go.
Yeah, when Clint originally sent it to me, it was, I don't know if you can see that.
It's 100%.
100% no. He's like, hey, dude, I did a poll of people that want to see Candyman.
And
I
then
was like, sweet.
I also asked people if, wait for it. Man, I need to start clicking this thing sooner. Which Fear Street movie did you like best? And 100% of the people said the 90s one.
That's weird.
Yeah, I didn't have that poll up very long, so I'll be honest, there weren't a whole lot of participants.
Bunch of millennials.
That's nostalgia factor.
Well, it's at 5 in the morning.
Bunch of millennials.
Yeah. Well,
if they would have been playing Bush in 1666, people would have loved
That's
it.
right.
Like, that's
Trent Reznor, everybody's breakup album from
It
the
is
90s.
It is weird. You go out and everywhere you look like all the high school kids all have Doc Martens on and flannels and stuff.
Well, they didn't play any of the like hits from 1666. Like, I went to the store and bought more and
Good King Wenceslas looked down on the feast of Stephen. Yeah, totally.
Oh, molasses. Oh, molasses.
I was thinking about that
all
when
the hits.
When I was watching, I was like, oh, no fucking nostalgic music. You know, what are you going to do? Just play the Conan soundtrack? Oh, hey, oh, oh, hey,
Dude, Dustin, I probably would have like just came a little bit if that happened.
Fuck
like,
yeah,
just,
man. You know what I like to put on when I'm getting down with the lady at home? Now we've been married for 10 years and together 12. I put on the fucking crazy like Conan when they go to when they get into the temple. She's
Orgy
like,
of flesh or whatever.
yeah, what is this?
Hear the lamentations of the women.
Don't worry about it. This really does it for me.
It's all me, baby. It's all me.
What is this? Don't worry about it. Don't look
Why
at
do you
me.
always put on black and white striped paint whenever we have sex?
Don't look at me in the eyes.
Like, let me get my crown. I'll be right back.
Yeah, totally.
Like the horns and shit.
Do you want to live forever?
And you're like, whatever. You don't know me. You wouldn't get shot in the chest with a snake for me.
Yeah.
Barbarian.
I'm going to shift gears out of horror for a minute and get over and start talking about Beverly Hills Cop 4 is in talks. Now they're going to start working on that, which is music to my ears. I'm all about it. Right now they're doing in California they're doing a bunch of tax credits and incentives to things. They're trying to get the business back to California for filmmaking.
Right.
And so Paramount made a deal with Netflix. They're supposed to give them $15.8 million in tax credits, and they're expected to generate $78 million in spending in the state. So it's a good move for them to do. But yeah, they should be shooting for about 58 filming days, it says. But Jerry Bruckheimer is producing, and Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah are gonna direct. Now, I probably butchered those names. I apologize, but those guys are the ones who directed Bad Boys for Life. Yeah. And I think that's a good pick to do a new Beverly Hills Cop movie because Bad Boys for Life was badass. What do you guys think of? And they're still working on the script and all that, and they're not gonna pull the trigger until they have a kick-ass script and actually start the filming. But they're working on it.
Budro, do you know the drama behind that Bad Boys for Life thing with the writer and those directors?
I do not. I never saw that.
I think it's a guy. I might be speaking out of school, which I often do, and don't stay in my lane, which is often the case. But the guy that wrote Boss Level is like I'm pretty sure he wrote Boss Level. He's like a really famous writer. He's like written a bunch of shit. And I think he like bumped heads with Will Smith or something. I'm totally starting a rumor here, but I did actually hear that on what was it? Fighter and the Kid.
Zero?
Fighter and the Kid. Yeah, totally. It's been best described. That guy gets me every fucking time. I like click every time. I'm like, damn it, he got me again.
Is it Joe Camahan or Chris Borey?
He just wrote a badass like a year and a half ago, really bad that didn't go anywhere, but it was a take on like a Mexican superhero.
Carl Weathers.
Is it
Was it-
Remo Williams?
Remo Williams. Yeah. Damn, I hope you like I was hoping you knew what was going on with that and then like pick it up. I just totally just like I was like almost taking a balloon and just untying it and like
I just did a clever Google search and nothing happened. So
Yeah.
we're
maybe they erased that guy. Hey,
Maybe so.
Will Smith killed a guy.
yeah. I think I don't know about you guys, but growing up, I loved Beverly Hills Cop. I thought it was awesome.
Thanks for getting it back on the rails.
Yeah.
Clint. Yeah, I love Beverly Hills Cop.
I think
badass.
Even better than
actually-
Remo Williams.
I actually didn't think. I thought Part 4 was still kind of in the same realm as Beetlejuice 2, which I didn't know if it was actually
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
happening. So this is actually the first time I've actually heard, like, oh shit, this is actually happening.
Yeah, this is recent stuff, and this is coming off of the heels of Coming to America being a big
Right.
success on Amazon. So I think it's gonna be awesome.
I listened to an interview with Eddie Murphy talking about this actually, and he was kind of talking about like, look, I'm gonna get a couple of these movies out of the way, and then I'm gonna, kind of set it up for my stand-up comeback. And I think he's trying to like, bookend his career, like give like the fans like his career himself and the fans like kind of some closure on these characters that were really popular. And I think it's a pretty smart marketing move too, like with these movies that you love, be like, hey, remember Eddie Murphy? Not that you wouldn't, but maybe even a younger audience, and then come back with stand-up and like crush it.
I heard a funny story
hope.
that my dad told me about him and Nick Nolte talking, and I don't know where my dad heard this, but this is just something my dad told me. But that Eddie Murphy was like, man, to Nick Nolte, like, they were in another 48 hours together and stuff.
Mhm.
He's like, man, you do all these really cool movies. Like, how do you get these movies? And he's like, Eddie, I don't get paid up front. I don't get guaranteed money. I just do them because I like doing them. And that Eddie Murphy was like, fuck that. I'm going to do these. I'll go do something that, family movies or whatever. But, Nick Nolte did a bunch of like artistic independent films and stuff, but because he liked the acting part of it. Eddie Murphy likes getting paid, So I thought that's pretty funny. So,
I don't blame him.
Eddie, if that's not true, my dad told me he heard that somewhere. God rest his soul. And I apologize if I'm telling falsehoods here, but that's what I heard. But if you look at the movies that he's made for years, it seems like he's setting his family up forever. You know what I mean? The generations and generations of Murphys will be doing just great because of all the movies that he put out.
I feel like if it's good enough for Sylvester Stallone to like bookend his career with like the Rambo and the Creeds and the stuff like that, I think it's more than open the door and cool for Eddie Murphy to do it.
Well, now he's got like Scrooge McDuck's money bin
He's got
full.
FU money.
It's
That's right.
exactly. So now he's like, cool. Now I'm gonna start saying motherfucker again, and
right.
because his stand up is some of the raunchiest, most hilarious stand up in the history, and he went full family. And now he's gonna go back, and I think that's cool. Well, who knows? Maybe he's gonna do Hot Pockets. What's that guy's?
McGaffigan.
Yeah, Jim Gaffigan.
Hot Pockets.
Jim Gaffigan doesn't curse anymore. He used to. If you look up Jim Gaffigan's old stuff, he used to
He
drop
curses
F-bombs.
if you talk about Trump.
Yeah, and it's
He curses. Yeah.
and it's weird to hear him do that. Maybe Eddie Murphy's been figuring out for years how to be hilarious without having to drop F-bombs.
He's pretty hilarious in Norbert. I like that.
That's the first time that has ever been said in the history of the world.
I think Charlie Murphy
Yeah.
came up with the concept of that movie, Norbert,
Murphy.
on the real.
So I'm gonna be Debbie Downer here. Clint loves everything. Curtis hates fucking everything. To me, Beverly Hills Cop 4 was called Metro. If you don't remember that movie, it's a great one. Go check it out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I just don't. I mean, I'll probably see it, but I just don't care. Like, I don't know. I do like the idea. Like, Dustin kind of talked me into it a little bit. Like, he's bookending his career because, like, honestly, I'm going to go see any Sly movie that comes out. So
I was
I'm
pulling
being
on your heartstrings a little bit.
I'm being hypocritical in a
Yeah.
way. So, but I just like I will check it out. I just don't know how much I care. Like, apparently Metro I think it was originally written to be Beverly Hills Cop 4, and then they just decided to change it and stuff like that. But that's a great film. I don't know. I love you, Eddie.
Can they get Judd Reinhold from somewhere? That was that guy's name,
Well,
right?
Yeah.
The other,
Come
and the other
on,
guy, Taggart's in jail. He was a real cop, and he like hired somebody to murder.
Holy
someone
smokes.
that was good.
Taggart killed a guy.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You just can't
that
get
was
caught.
crazy.
Did y'all ever see Escape Plan?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yes.
Like, so that was Stallone and Schwarzenegger, right? The
Yeah.
original?
Yeah.
And then part 2 is Stallone and Batista.
I haven't seen part 2, but yes, it is Stallone and
And
Batista.
then I think part 3 is just Batista.
Well, but who is it? Shit, the guy from Expendables. There's another guy in there from Expendables, and I haven't seen it either. But the guy with the cauliflower ears.
the
Randy
UFC
Couture.
UFC fighter.
Randy
Randy
Couture.
Couture. Yeah.
Couture. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's in there too.
I was
You can get all 3 of them for $5 at
yeah,
Walmart.
yeah, totally.
man.
Like,
I'm gonna go.
I'll watch all that shit always. Like I'm like as long as I know what I'm walking into, like I'll watch anything terrible. You know what I mean? If the
I just finished watching not too long ago. It was a Van Damme movie that's on Netflix right now called The Last Mercenary, and look it up. It just I think it was released I think last year, but it kind of has made like a resurgence, and through the Netflix algorithm, a lot of people have been finding it like by accident, and it's an actual it's a French film, but it's really cool, like to see Van Damme back in his element of full blown action film.
Yeah,
like
man.
it's there's car chases, and the best part about it is he's kind of like he's a mercenary, right? So he's on all these secret missions. He gets dressed up like in outfits, like in makeup, and so you see him like with the fake mustaches and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, motherfucking Van Damme, look at him! Like it's so great. Like
he's still doing the damn thing.
Yeah,
and God bless him. You know what I mean?
And he doesn't. And you know what? He's not aging as gracefully. You know, and not to say that Stallone and Schwarzenegger are much better, but they're still looking pretty decent. But you know, Van Damme, you can tell he's starting to get a little bit heavier, you know, and he's starting to get a little bit older.
It's cool though that he's not taking himself as seriously. So
right.
That eases the tension of that aging action star when they can kind of be, you know, make fun of themselves a little bit but you know, still deliver.
Absolutely.
It's very forgivable.
And then you guys, I think, which is the movie? I think, is it Electric Boogaloo 1 or 2 that he makes a cameo? Is it
Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo, you mean?
Is it Breaking 2?
It's got probably. I don't remember him being in Breaking. He
makes a quick cameo and he's dancing.
He has badass wind pants.
Yeah. And then so he kind of does a callback to that in this film, and you see
Oh,
him,
okay.
and I'm like, holy shit, he's dancing.
Yeah.
And so it's a great little action flick. Go check it out. It's actually pretty well shot. It's pretty good action, and it's a decent running time. So it's called The Last Mercenary.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It's fun. It's a great
I'm a big
callback
blood
to
sport
Van
guy.
Damme.
I like all his martial arts.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
action.
Blood sport, kickboxer,
Lionheart.
Lionheart. I mean, I love all those Van Damme films. So the muscles from Brussels, baby. You can't
Yeah,
go
that's
wrong
right.
with it.
Well,
So-
I was gonna say so two things. Did y'all ever see JCVD?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
a great film.
Yeah.
It's such a I like it's like a kind of a retrospective
meta.
film for him and stuff like that.
Very meta, yeah.
And
Where he's-
if to me, I think he missed his calling. I mean, well, obviously not because he's super successful, but in Expendables 2 as the bad guy, he was so fucking good, man. Like he should play more bad guys. Like he was just so great. Don't challenge me. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally.
Oh yeah. Where his accent. I mean, it's just
yeah.
like, I mean,
I can't
one of
believe
my favorite Van Damme films, and it's not really a Van Damme film, it's more of an ensemble film, but it really is a Van Damme film, is the original Street Fighter. Or, Street Fighter, the video game. I mean, where who wants to go home and who wants to go with me? Like,
Yeah.
come on, man, that's Van Damme.
I can't believe they haven't made a B movie where George St. Pierre is like finds out his dad is like Jean-Claude Van Damme. I am your father.
George St. Pierre, who's
The wrestler
George St.
or
Pierre's like-
the UFC wrestler. I hope somebody comes and chokes me, comes through the wall and like
like
gets
Kool-Aid
me-
Man.
Gets me an Americana actually, upside down arm in choke for that one. But no, he's a UFC fighter. That he was the dude that Falcon was fighting at the beginning of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, I know you're talking about. Okay.
Super legit cool guy too.
That's funny, man.
Yeah.
What I missed, guys? What'd y'all talk about while I was gone?
Just badass shit.
Just badass stuff.
Fucking-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Van
That's
Damme.
what we do. Yeah.
Before
Damn it.
before we move on down the line, did you have any cool notes about any of these scary shows that you didn't go? Any thoughts on
He's
anything?
just
or
saying
do we-
that because I've got a shitload
No,
of notes here.
I'm
and he's
impressed. He
probably like,
took he took. I always take notes before I'm going to do a show.
You know what it made me think of? Like speaking of the '90s, I was in high school in the '90s, and Clint was too. But when they like decide to like kill Sam in like the 1994, the way they start doing it, I'm like, I got this weird memory of like that game where you like hyperventilate and kind of like grab here and you
yeah.
fall backwards and somebody
Pass
puts your
out.
hands and your hands feel like they're going down through the floor. I'm like, it's that, except you don't have to get pilled out and fucking drowned in a fucking pickle bucket. I was like, Jesus Christ. They're like going hard in the paint with this.
We started doing that in like second grade. That knock each other out. And
We probably would have killed somebody if we were doing it in elementary school. I'm glad it was high school.
we did
before
we
they
did it in
fucking-
second grade. I remember kids and like the teachers would okay, lean up against this telephone pole out in the playground, and we were like
Wait,
making each other.
teachers.
No, teachers would
You just said teacher.
kids were out there doing that, and then teachers are like, "Oh crap!" Because all over the place, everybody's trying to make each other faint, and so like teachers are freaking out because
Oh, yeah.
kids are making each other pass out. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's nuts. I mean, just to see a second grader, dropping like flies all over the, I mean, you're a teacher, Curtis. You know what I mean? I'm sure that would freak you out.
no, kids are stupid. Yep. We did that crap. And we got. It's something new all the time. So, but now, Clint, you came from a small. Well, I mean, McAllen's
McAllen?
not that small.
But
I mean, but
it was like 75,000 people when I moved away. I have no idea what it is now.
It's like the
So
biggest
that- so
city
it's-
in the valley, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
way better than Brownsville and
Yeah.
Harlingen.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm from
just
You're from Brownsville, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said that.
but I remember like
Here-
whenever they're talking about Shadyville and stuff like that, like they're like feeling that way, like you're stuck in this
Yeah.
town, and like everything around you dies, like everybody successful that you think's gonna make it out doesn't make it. And just I remember feeling like that in a small town, and it just that kind of hit home pretty good too.
Pretty much the whole valley in general is like, people are like, okay, either like we're good to stay here for the rest of our lives, or they're like, I got to get the hell out of here. There's
right,
it's weird. And in reference to Brownsville versus McAllen, it's funny because both of them have bridges with major like cities on the other side in Mexico, and but Brownsville always my whole life always had the big spot on the map, but McAllen, we were like, we're better than Brownsville. But if you look, you ask them, they're like, oh yeah, they look at the map, they're like, oh, are you close to Brownsville? Like, no, they're close to us, we're McAllen, but it's pretty funny. But
honestly, I've been to McAllen several times, but I still could put Brownsville out on a map. Like,
yeah, you're like it's right. They're right next to each other. 45 minutes away, or an hour away. Yeah, it's like, oh, either way, I can tell you, both of us are glad to be in Austin. I'll tell you that right now. Like McAllen, I spent 3 weeks there one day. I make that joke about El Paso. Actually, that's who I like to bag on is El Paso. But anyway, let's get back to. We're like, oh.
Did anybody else think it was weird in the 1994 where she's like leaving this really long message on the the only survivors like answering machine?
Mm-hmm.
Like blah 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 blah. Me and Clint lived together like back in the day, and we'd race home to like hit play on like the fucking answer machine. Could you imagine like being the recipient of that fucking like you push play, you see the blink is blinking. Oh yeah, somebody called me. Okay, let's see what's going on. Like, oh my God, we're blah 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 blah.
You're the only survivor. Meanwhile, they're screaming in the background. Somebody's getting butchered.
And also,
and it's her roommate, and she's like, "Fuck this, my boyfriend's gonna call. Delete."
Yeah, totally. Delete. Erase.
Could you imagine what it would be like to get a phone call that was like, "Hey, I'm so and so from the radio station. We really liked your song. I want to play you guys and get you signed." That would be weird.
Yeah, it'd be totally weird.
All right, moving on. Spider-Man trailer, guys. Did you see the Spider-Man trailer? Here we go. It dropped yesterday. We're not going to watch the trailer. We just got to watch the screen that says Spider-Man trailer, and it just imagine what it would be like to see it. That's what we're doing.
Imagine a big badass trailer with like a Spider-Man symbol on it.
Yes.
And all kind of shit in it.
With Sylvester Stallone, like over the top style, like driving it, just like, doing
and while you're driving, all you play is, "You're the best around.
Nothing's never gonna bring it down." It's a Joe Esposito award.
Did you
We
guys
need Van Damme in this Spider-Man trailer, dude.
I don't even know if you guys care about Spider-Man at all.
I didn't until I saw the trailer. Actually,
Until
I swear
saw
to
that
God.
fucking trailer.
Did you see it, Curtis? What did you think?
I'm more excited for that than anything I've been along. Like, Eternals looks awesome. Shang-Chi looks awesome. But that once I saw fucking Doc Ock come out,
That was what I was gonna say. You stole the thunder, dude.
I was like,
"Hello, Peter."
Fuck everything else. I'm ready to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Like right now. Like that man.
I like the fucking spider walk of shame that he has to do when everybody knows he's fucking Peter Parker. And he's like, got his head down, and everybody's like, "Yeah, fuck you, whatever, Peter Parker." You know what I mean? Like, that would be a thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
That would actually be a thing. And then
dude's still in high school.
Yeah, totally. He does the
I'm
spider
just a
walk.
sophomore.
The spider walk of shame. And then I like also how maybe he's the one and not Loki that fucks up the multiverse because he can't keep his mouth shut while fucking Doctor Strange is like casting a spell. And what a fucking hack Doctor Strange must be if he can't if he gets fucked up by a 17-year-old like fucking trying to cast a spell. hold on, I can't figure out this.
Well, Wong even tries to stop him and says, "Don't cast that spell."
He's like,
But I think Doctor Strange's egos got away
yeah,
from him. He just helped save the universe. Both of those guys did, so they think they can do no wrong.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably what happens. Is he? I saw some people were like, "That's not Doctor Strange. Maybe it's like Mephisto." And I'm like,
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's not. That's not
fucking
what's happening."
Doctor Strange doing Fisher Price, my first spell.
Because he's wearing like casual wear, isn't he? Like he's got like a sweater
Like
or
a
something
velour
like
jumpsuit or some shit. Yeah, totally.
It's like,
But
"Hey,
see-
I saved the world.
Hey,
What's
I'm
up?
fucking
I'm Doctor Strange. I fucking saved the
Not
world."
Joey's bag of donuts down the street. I'm fucking cast a spell if I want to. Oh, where's your aunt? Say hi to
I've
your
heard-
aunt for me. Oh,
Curtis, what were you gonna say?
It's fucking gay.
yeah.
that. Hey, you don't have to love me, but you gotta respect me.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, dude. I think it looks good. Did any of y'all watch the leaked version? Like, it was funny. A day before they released it, somebody leaked it out, and
Some Sony, right? Yeah, that.
yeah, it was some special effects guy.
Hmm.
What's funny is they put a watermark on. If you get a screener, you get a watermark with your name on it.
Fuck yeah.
So if I were to get one, it would say Clint Baker. If Dustin jumped on my computer and saw that and like emailed it to himself and then released it, all of a sudden they're like, "Witch! It's a witch!"
Yeah.
They're coming after me, and the whole world
That's
is
right.
coming after Clint Baker because my name is watermarked on it. Well, somebody did that, and the poor special effects guy. Maybe he's the douchebag that leaked it, but
Probably.
probably not.
I'll
Probably
go
is like
get on the phone and ask Doomcock.
yeah,
Fucking
his
who did that shit.
son probably
It-
was like, "Badass, Dad's got the thing," and like leaked it.
Mm.
And
His
now
fuck you money just came in, and he's like, "Let's do
So I'm
this."
talking about.
and now this poor FX guy is never going to work for Sony again. No good. Yeah. Oh well. It happens.
I think it's fucking like Bill and Ted Far From Home. They're like fucking going to the multiverse. As soon as he like fucks up the spell, I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this?
yeah, there's a lot of people that are like, "Really, dude? You really think that Doctor Strange is going to be that sloppy?"
The Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the top dude. Like all of a sudden he's Jar Jar Binks. Like what?
Yeah.
What? You know what I mean? Like what the hell? Like
Or maybe Peter Parker's that annoying.
This is what I don't get though. Like, so I've heard since WandaVision, I've heard this talk about Mephisto being like the next big bad. He's never been a big bad. Okay, he's the devil. He's the devil in the
Yeah.
Marvel universe. But he's like just like the devil. He's always he rides below the radar. He lets somebody else be the big bad. He lets somebody else do the work. So I see him being there, but like he's not gonna be a big bad, and if they do him like the comics, like
I'll tell you why he's never going to be in the MCU. And maybe I'll eat my words, but I'll tell you why he's never going to be in the MCU, because China does not allow devils in their stuff.
Mm.
That's like they don't they do not do devils. China does not. The government does not allow that. So or demons. If you have so they're not ever going to do that because they wouldn't get played in China, and they're even having a hard time getting their normal stuff played in China right now. But why would you throw something into the mix that they're like, yeah, no, China doesn't do devils. Like they don't do demons and devils.
Mephisto's
Like,
social credit is super low.
yeah. So
On the fucking- super low.
yeah. So that's
Not even
that's
Frank Grillo or fucking John Cena can fucking save Mephisto.
yeah. So that's why that's exactly why you'll never see Mephisto, is because that puts a hindrance on Marvel movies.
Yeah.
You know, being released there, and that's gajillions of dollars for them. They're not going to do that. So
Which sucks because, you know, when it's like a pimps and hoes business,
hey,
Mephisto's no hoe, you know what I'm saying?
everyone knows pimping ain't easy.
That's
you know,
right.
you know what I'm saying. Speaking of, I don't even remember if we talked about. I just gargled. I don't even remember. I don't even remember if we talked about this last week or not. But speaking of money and Disney, there's a huge lawsuit going on right
Yeah.
now at Disney with Scarlet Johansson. and I thought it'd be fun to hear Budro's perspective on this as a filmmaker himself. I'm gonna lay it out for those of you guys who haven't been keeping up. Scarlett Johansson was in Black Widow and was a producer of Black Widow. Black Widow, the contract for that movie was made in 2017. And then they started making plans to and creating Disney Plus. Well, at that time, in like 2019, March of 2019, Scarlett Johansson's camp reached out to Disney Plus and said, "Hey guys, you got this new streaming service. You're not going to try and put our stuff out on that, are you?" And they're like, "No. Are you kidding? You're
the tip."
Yeah, your contract is based on a series of back end bonuses, depending on your performance at the theater. So if we're going to do anything like put your stuff out on a streaming service, we would have to renegotiate and come back and do something to make it fair for you, because that's how you're going to get paid, is based on the performance in the theater. So no, we wouldn't do that. And then we had COVID-19. And then next thing you know, Disney is doing everything they can do to up their subscription count, because they looked over at HBO Max. HBO Max is doing everything, just releasing everything on HBO Max to get subscribers, because they figured out it's like gym memberships. As long people will forget to unsubscribe, and the money just keeps coming in. So if we could just get a bunch of subscribers, if we can get Disney Plus at every house in America, then we might make it through this. The difference is HBO Plus, or HBO Max, excuse me, they settled with all their talent. They gave spent like $300 million paying off all these directors and actors and people that had back end deals to satisfy them, and came to a happy understanding with all these people. I heard like Denzel got $20 million. I was like, here, because he he's a established guy. Bunch of directors and actors all got paid off hundreds of millions of dollars out of HBO Max's pocket. Disney now turns around, and when it's time to release Black Widow, they kept pushing it back. We got to wait till the pandemic ends. We all thought it was going to be a month or two. We didn't know it was going to be forever. And so, and then we get to a point where I think maybe it was a hindrance to their storytelling timeline, that they just decided we can't push this thing back anymore, and they tossed it out. But should they have? Should they have waited? I don't know. But what they didn't do is they didn't return phone calls and emails to Scarlett Johansson's camp, where they were like, okay, hey, let's renegotiate this thing. You guys we're kind of thinking you're going to put this out. Let's renegotiate this thing so we can make it fair. They never returned the phone calls. They didn't get back to them, and they just threw it out on Disney Plus. And everyone wants to say, "Oh my God!" And they also, which is a faux pas, they released to the public that Scarlett Johansson got paid $20 million up front. Now, what that is a tactic to make the internet say, "Oh, what is she crying about? She's got $20 million." That's not the point. The point is the contract was before the pandemic, way before. This was in 2017, and you can't just change a contract. You have to go back to the table and talk about what you're going to do. And it's like if I was going to release a record that was going to be CDs in stores like we used to do in the old days, and then they just decided, oh, hey, we're going to just break the contract and just put the stuff out online, we'd have to renegotiate. If Budro were to make a film and then made an agreement on how it was going to be released, and you're going to change the way it was released, you'd have to renegotiate. And they didn't do that. So I'm with Scarlett, even though, like, yes, she's worth over $100 million. She doesn't need the money. You know what I mean? I'm barely worth $100. But it's like, the point is, it's a contract.
But Disney has all the money in the world.
They've got FU money.
That too.
Money,
and what's funny too is after that, you have Free Guy, for instance, didn't go to Disney Plus. Well, I found out later that was because it was part of the Fox merger, and that it was contracted through. That deal was with Fox, and they acquired Free Guy from the Fox merger. But if you look at the Jungle Cruise, they went back to the table with The Rock and renegotiated and his deal. And they didn't offer her that courtesy, but they didn't want to screw over the biggest movie star, The Rock, in the world. But Scarlett Johansson's character is dead in the MCU. So they don't have to work with her anymore. So they just kind of let it slide. And then Emma Stone did the Cruella movie. They basically gave her a second movie and gave her a big signing bonus for the and I think they gave her some back end money too. They gave her a settlement package, I think, to keep her from suing also. So that's the full scale of it. So I'm giving you those so you can have some context of what's happening with other people. But Scarlett Johansson, whose character's dead that they don't have to deal with anymore, didn't get that courtesy. As a filmmaker, Budro, that was a long-ass question. What do you think about all of that? How do you feel about that? Or do you think Scarlett's just like, she should just shut up, take the $20 million and go make another movie somewhere else? Because she's she pretty much, I'm sure, severed her ties with Disney permanently. She had another movie she was supposed to do with Disney that's not going to happen anymore, from what I understand. So now that I've spoken for 10 minutes straight, what do you think?
I mean, I gotta side with her on this just because of the fact that if the entire world has to pivot and change the way that procedure is going to happen, whether it comes, when it comes to distribution, then they're going to have to pivot as well, and take that into account. So I know you kind of just had a 10-minute spiel, but I have a short answer of like, no, I'm on her side that, she should be compensated for that. And, obviously they negotiated with The Rock. Everybody knows that The Rock is the #1 biggest movie draw right now. They would be committing, financial suicide to do anything other than that. With Scarlett Johansson, they're just being really shitty. And that's just really shitty on Disney's part, because they're saying, well, what's she going to do? Her character's dead, and you know what? We'll just pay her off in some way. But instead, Scarlett's kind of being brave and bringing it up and at least trying to make light of this situation that's very unfortunate, but it does happen. So at least she's fighting it. I commend her for that, and her whole camp is fighting it. And I think I think that from what I can tell, that there's a majority support in her favor online, in the film world that I can tell, as opposed to Disney, who's, come on, man, you guys have more money than God. There's no point in you. What are you trying to save here? What's the point of this? So, and it's, I'm not the biggest, and I will say this, and I don't know if this is going to impede on me being on this podcast in the future, but I don't follow the comic universe as much anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like I don't like it or whatever. It's just I just don't follow it as much. My world in the last 2 years has been horror films and documentaries. I dip into the comic world when I can, but that doesn't mean. Obviously, it's a huge moneymaker. Like it's a huge business, and to screw over somebody like that, it's just bad business. It's bad. For the company overall, and I just don't agree with it. So because I can see that as a filmmaker, that could easily be me as well, and so I don't agree with that at all.
Great answer. And on this show, we're trying to cover a little bit about everything. Yes, we like comic stuff, but we want horror, action, all of it. But the thing about this situation is it affects everything. It affects the film industry in general, because it's going to set a precedent for what happens next time. It's also going to change the way deals are structured. Now these people, they're like, hey, are we ever going to get theaters back? If not, we should not include back-end deals anymore. You have like Netflix. They don't do back-end deals. Netflix just gives you too much money up front, so to shut you up, just pays you off up front and it's done. And all these things, like people are starting to learn, like, are we just going to keep getting variants? Are we are the movie theaters never going to happen again, or is it going to go up and down? Like, who knows? It's really interesting. The other interest, I have another twist on this. Remind me that I had a twist, but you sound like, Dustin, you were about to say something before I hit the twist on it.
I was just gonna say there's no Lars Ulrich to like hold the line and be like, hey, wait a minute, the fucking shit is obviously changing and we don't want to get fucking ripped off, you know? And people shit on him then, kind of like some people are kind of shitting on, you know, ScarJo's mams right now, and I just don't think that that's fucking cool at all. She's like obviously an artist, you know what I mean? She's made tour de force films and she's had really great, you know, performances, and I think she fucking put it into this little comic franchise, and this film, you know, it's not like she's just like phoning it in or something.
This little multi-billion dollar franchise.
I was like, I didn't know.
That hit me for a minute. I was like, wait.
Yeah, that was for Curtis. That was like super subtle. Like, I didn't know if Curtis was gonna come over the top, like a overhand right, like, how dare you?
She's got like 10
I
plus
just got
years
confused.
too.
I was like,
Yeah.
we must be talking about something else.
Something else? Are you talking about that little Eddie Murphy, that little fucking Bill Murray movie she was in? I don't know. But yeah, you know, I kind of almost feel like she's the canary in the coal mine. Like she's the, you know, Lars, like standing up, and, you know, everybody saw how that went. So I think people should take notice. And I guarantee you that all of the managers and all of the agents are taking notice. And they just fucking like, you know, oh, you can get screwed like this. Okay. Yeah, not me though. We'll, you know, we'll see when the, you know, when the paper comes around to sign. But go ahead. What about your twist?
Oh, well, yeah, they're all eating popcorn, waiting to see what happens, just to figure out how to run their businesses in the future. The twist is that, well, there's a couple of things. First of all, Shang-Chi is going straight to theaters. It looks like it's going to be awesome. All the reviews I've heard on Shang-Chi look like they're going to be like it's going to be an amazing movie. But the CEO of Disney, Bob Chapek, he said he called it. Yeah, it's going to be cool to see how this experiment. He called the movie an experiment.
They cannot stop stepping in shit. This company.
Yeah, and he's
like unbelievable.
And I think it's because they're not going to do the Disney Plus. It's only going to be in theaters for I think 45 days. And so, he pissed off the lead, Simu Liu. Look, I think that's his name. By calling it an experiment. It's like, my movie's not an experiment. He got on Twitter, my movie's not an experiment. That's why I put my heart and soul into this thing. But
got up there and did the Howard Dean. Woo!
Yeah.
I hope this isn't the thing that like caps that guy's career. I hope it like does well and doesn't like.
I think Bob Chapek's like, well, we decided to do, you know, the executives, well, we decided to release on Disney Plus and the theaters, and, you know, blah, blah. And they're like, this time we're just going to release to the theaters. We'll see how that does, and that'll establish how we handle the Eternals that comes out next. And those guys don't know what the fuck they're doing.
And I talked
they're
about
just playing.
this.
I mean, he and I have dealt with Columbia Records execs, and it's like while the music industry was circling the toilet, like they're trying to let's copy that band, like that band swing is a big hit. We want to hear swing guys. We're like, dude, can I just write a song? No, we want to hear swing. They fucking told Riddling kids they wanted swing every time I was on the phone.
They also sent us a CD with like 20 like top 10 hits and was like, write something like this.
Yeah, and that's
it's
what
like
executives are not artists. They're execs, and they're bean counters, and
we were talking about the Shang-Chi thing, like maybe he meant by experiment, like this is just another data point.
It is.
So we can figure out how to do this shit.
Last Marvel movie, we did streaming and theater at the same time. This time we just do theater. Next time we'll just do streaming. Next time, you know what I mean? It's like they're like looking at how stuff performs in a pandemic, and they have no fucking idea what it's going to do, and they're assessing the situation. And the Eternals is supposed to be their big Oscar possible movie. Like, it's supposed to be fantastic. Chloe Zhao, who is got Best Director last year, is directing that. Angelina Jolie's in it. You got a bunch of the Starks from Game of Thrones are in it, and it's supposed to be amazing. So we'll see how it goes, but it's just interesting to see all this legal stuff happening. And the twist was that Scarlett Johansson's camp wants a jury trial on this. Yeah, but in the contract with Marvel, or with Disney and Marvel, it states that if they have any kind of trouble, that they would go to a third-party arbitrator. And they're like, oh, I thought you're all about contracts. You want to follow you're mad at us because you say we violated the contract. Now you're trying to violate the contract by going to a jury trial.
Yeah.
Let's go talk to our arbitrator. They're like, no, we want a jury trial. They're like, but what about the contract? And then Jerry Seinfeld's like, what's the deal with contracts?
And they open the door, and the arbitrator is like Mickey Mouse. Oh, hello, Scarlett. Hi, how are you? Oh no, it seems like we don't owe you any more money. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's funny. Curtis?
That's just so I don't even understand like how. I mean, I get all the points stuff, but like how this could even happen, how Disney could be this stupid or naive or something. Because so the movie's been done for 2 years now or something like that.
Yeah, I'll tell you how. Right? Okay, I'll tell you.
But wait.
Okay.
But they even reshot portions of it and portions of WandaVision to make it fit. They knew what was going on. They knew what was happening. And in that whole time, they weren't like, well, we got this contract from obviously a major star, because she's starring in her own film, that we kind of need to talk about. Like, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, I know it might just be a screw you. And I was going to ask Clint, if you know, did this come out before? Well, it obviously came out after, but was the issue, do you know, like kind of before? I remember Scarlett Johansson was saying she had an issue with her character being sexualized over the years. Of course, after she was in the films,
right?
Hypersexualized in the films. So maybe it was some retaliation to that, but the timeline is iffy for me. I don't know necessarily if that's true, but regardless, I don't like, how did this even happen? Like, they obviously planned for every contingency for this fucking movie, and they don't, but not paying the person whose name is on the front cover.
Well,
I don't get it.
Top execs are fucking sociopaths that are dead inside, and they're just like, I gotta fucking, like, it's a job to them. They're like, I gotta fucking pay for the 5 mortgages on the houses that I have, my kids' fucking private school, you know.
I'll tell you the deal.
And the other shit is stovepiped. Like, nobody knows what in the production. Nobody knows the business of what the other production company's doing or what the numbers are. They speculate.
The lawyers know, man. The lawyers know.
I'll spell it out for you right now. I'll lay it out for you. Here's the deal. If you're having money problems, I feel bad for you, son. No, like, during the apocalypse, they are not making money on movies. They know this. They know they're not making money on movies, but like in the theater. How do we get a steady income? Because if we have a steady income, our stock prices go up. And if me as the CEO and him as the chairman of the board, if we get the stock prices up, we're going to bonus. All these guys freaking bonus if they, all these top execs bonus as long as the stock prices are high enough. So what they did is get subscribers. That's the only consistent thing. It's like I said before, it's like a gym membership. As long as people are paying us money, every household in America, and as long as Loki's on, we're going to have everybody in America subscribing to Disney Plus. And then if we throw you can watch Black Widow on, that's an added bonus. What else? Let's just give away some Pixar movies on here too. They threw a bunch of Pixar movies, all the stuff, just to get subscribers, as much content. That was the battle plan for HBO Max. They just started throwing anything they could so that they could make some money back, because you're you're losing money.
They also might have some China
they're
money in there
hemorrhaging. Yeah, they're
that they had to
hemorrhaging
refinance out.
money.
But-
So here's the deal. The people in charge don't care because they don't know what's going to happen. So what they do, they release Black Widow on streaming and in the theater, and they say, you know what? Maybe we'll get lucky, and people will show up to the theater, and maybe people will premiere access it, and which they made. I mean, they made in the first weekend, they made like, I think $60 million on premiere access of streaming, which is money that they don't have to give 30% to the theaters. This is money that just they don't have to
And it
print
doesn't
anything.
go to ScarJo, right?
I think she
goes
gets.
to
I think
ScarJo.
I think she gets a little piece of that too. But who knows how it's? But I think she does get a little. I at first I thought she didn't, but I think she does get a little piece of that. But as all they care about is that this quarter, that they meet their numbers so that they personally can bonus. And then they look at they say, we're going to cross our fingers and roll the dice, and because we got to get this thing out now. We'll see what happens with ScarJo. If we're lucky, we'll sell so much money or sell so much streaming and theaters tickets that she makes enough money that she'll just shut up about it and take the money.
Yeah.
If we're lucky, it's very much a thing like Ford saying, okay, this Pinto has a flaw that can cause deaths. Rather than recall all the Pintos, we're just going to settle out of court. That's what they played. The game they played with Scarlett Johansson. And what didn't happen is they didn't make enough money in the theater to keep her from suing them. And so she sued them.
Your arguments, I understand your argument, but that's what I mean. That's what I don't get. Okay, if it's a Pinto, that's fine, but this is a top of the line vehicle you're talking about.
So
like you are banging,
No,
you're betting on this.
You know about the
and your star,
right?
Scarlett just
like-
happened to be the
Well,
first motherfucking
It
Pinto
was
to blow up.
it was an experiment. Because it could have possibly performed. We had a Delta variant that screwed everything up, so they didn't change the release date. It could have sold enough tickets box office wise to make enough money to that she might have been like, okay. And the movie was pretty good. It wasn't a plus
right.
Marvel movie. It was like a B plus Marvel movie. It was good. It was
I
solid.
loved it.
It was solid. I really enjoyed it. But it wasn't Endgame. It was just pretty good. And I think pretty good is A plus with the movies that we've gotten in the last year and a half. If you look at it.
How did you not know this lawsuit was coming? That's what I mean. Like,
No, they knew.
They knew.
They knew. What they hoped.
Scarlett Johansson's team thought like, oh no, they've got to do something for us. She probably called a couple of times. Hey, I'm in fucking Greece on a yacht. I've been thinking though, this streaming thing is like, I think there's something to this. Oh no, it'll probably be fine. It's gonna be great. We're all gonna like everything's great.
Here's what they said. Okay, do we return the calls and then have to settle and give her like $30 or $40 million to make everything cool before we release this, or do we release it? And maybe we will sell that in the theaters, and then we won't have to give her any money.
And we just say, "Here's too much
money." And then, here's a bunch of money. Maybe who knows where the tipping point is? Maybe we'll get lucky, and it will make enough money that she'll be cool. And if it doesn't, then we'll solve that problem later. That's what they did basically.
So
I think
she was the first Pinto to explode, Curtis, to answer your question.
And then they went back and started settling and fixing everything with all the other talent. It was an experiment. They were just hoping they didn't have to make a big payout.
So you're saying basically what you're telling me is that in the future movies with the multiverse, that the Black Widow will be played by Van Damme from here on out.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The Van Damme taking over.
Yeah,
let's
all right. Let's get out of this ScarJo. I just wanted.
Are you going home with me?
Budro's a filmmaker, and so I was just
Don't
curious.
challenge me.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you had any opinions on that. You gave your opinions, but that's I was
probably
just
like Kenny Powers. He's probably like, "Get me paid, bitch."
I'm like, dude, I'll take. I'm sure Budro. I'm sure you're like, dude, I'll take $20 million. Yeah, give it to me.
No, but see, I was kind of surprised. I figured Budro would be more like, you know what, the producers need more money. Don't pay the performers and the actual workers. You need to give those producers more money.
Yeah,
I was a little bit surprised on that one, but
Let's see what the next topic I got going over here. I have something in the
There's
works.
another topic.
We're almost done, bro. We're almost done.
We kind of did rock through the Shang-Chi already.
Okay. Shang-Chi versus Spider-Man versus Venom versus Eternals.
This may be unpopular, but I'm meh on Eternals. You guys can.
That's
beat on me
okay.
now.
And I know Budro, you're not a big comic guy, but feel free to chime in on. I'm just basically asking, which of those movies are you the most excited to see? Spider-Man.
I'm going with Spider-Man. I mean, it's Doc Ock. I mean, Alfred Molina. Like, whoa, Doc Ock is back. Like that was a big selling point for me. So
pretty badass.
Venom with Woody Harrelson, Carnage, and all that stuff. I thought Venom was okay. It was entertaining.
Mhm.
Is there going to be a part? There's going to be a part 2.
Dude, the new one.
of course.
It looks badass.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
It'll be fun, but as far as a film, and I don't really know that much about Eternals. I know who you mentioned about the director. I know about the people that are in it, but I don't really know anything about the story, the plot. I really don't know that much about it. So I'm curious about it. I want to know more about it, but just from at a glance, I'm going with Spider-Man.
How about you, Curtis?
So
I'll, just to help you out.
No, kind of same idea. Like all of these. Like I watched. I was pretty excited about Eternals because I do kind of know a lot of what I think is gonna happen there. What's gonna go, but it just Spider-Man blew the doors out, man.
Yeah.
Once I saw Doc Ock, because let's be honest, Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie that's happened. Like it's just the best. And like once I saw Alfred Molina, I was like, fucking, I don't care what happens. Like we're doing, like this is gonna be awesome. Like they're bringing it. That like,
do you think they knew
because
that
Sony still owns him,
Yeah.
and they're like Marvel, you want to share some shit? Let's fucking share some shit. Give me those Fox properties,
Yeah.
and we're gonna go to town. Like there
And
must have been some deal made where they were like,
Yeah,
"You
they
wanna keep
did.
getting Spider-Man. Yeah, you gotta bring it."
And they have a Doctor Strange, which is an MCU cameo.
Yeah, that's right.
true. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
he's not
Crossing
he's
it
not.
over.
Yeah, he crossed over, and then Sam Raimi, who directed the old Spider-Man stuff, is the one directing, and he's badass, and he has a very specific look to his stuff, and
Yeah, like it's.
Wait, I didn't know that Raimi's directing.
yeah,
the new Spider-Man.
yeah,
the
No
one
Way
that-
Home.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and I was like,
oh wow.
yeah, so it's like, wow. Pretty cool. I'm excited about that too. Like there's something about the Sony Spider-Man universe that is a little like, I don't know if it's the Garfield Spider-Man movies that just screwed me up.
Yeah, it wouldn't bum me out.
but they're
Yeah,
like,
just- yeah.
but they're campy. They're a little bit too campy. And I love Spider-Man. I've always loved Spider-Man. But yeah, I'm like, I don't like.
But
I think
the first.
Paul Giamatti as Rhino. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean?
It feels like.
And then you got Jamie Foxx's Electro. Was like, it was terrible. It was the fucking worst shit ever.
It
And
feels
so,
like buying something at Big Lots.
yeah, it's like
the
I bought.
knockoff version of the
it's-
fucking thing that you want.
It's like I got Spider-Man on Wish. Is
Yeah,
what it's
that's
like.
right.
You know what I mean? I ordered Spider-Man from Wish.
Better
I'm like,
reference.
dude, I don't want the
That's right.
Fisher Price, or I don't want the Great Value. That's a national thing. People,
Yeah.
Great
The Hill
Value
Country
Spider-Man.
Fair.
Hill
The
Country Fair is a
Fair.
Texas thing.
Yeah.
I want the real deal. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm definitely
those
excited.
Everything that you just named was the Andrew Garfield ones. And
Yeah.
I don't hate them as much as other people do, but it's like definitely like the Tobey Maguire ones set the tone. Like those,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
oh my god, we can have good comic book movies, good Marvel comic book movies. Like wow,
They kind of
And-
paved the road for
Yeah, it
for,
did.
They
for,
really
for
did.
everything, really.
And I think that's mainly due to Sam Raimi, who grew
Yeah.
up as a comic book fan.
True.
That said, you know what? I actually want to do this a little bit different. Like, I don't want to be Richard Donner. As great as he was, I don't.
Right.
I want to be my own thing. And so, they're really beautiful looking movies. They're
Yeah.
really great. I mean, part two, I agree with you. Part two is by far my favorite too. But I think he was able to take it to a different level, and I agree with you that that really set the tone for a lot of comic book movies that started coming up after that.
Pretty badass.
And just on the same topic, kind of, Sam Raimi's first superhero movie, if you haven't seen it, Darkman, is fucking
Darkman's awesome.
I've never seen that
go
movie.
rewatch it. Oh my god.
Liam Neeson in his I think one of his first American films was, I want to say one of his first American films. I mean, yeah, it's Darkman, fucking amazing.
He's like, I've got a particular set of skills. I'm Darkman.
My nose is like a giant penis. I'm Darkman.
He just turned into Sean Connery.
Yeah. If you watch Darkman and Spider-Man 2 back to back, you can just see the influences of like what he wanted to do more of in the first one. Like, it's just spectacular.
Liam Neeson, Larry Drake. Oh my god, like Larry Drake in that is he's a great villain. Oh yeah, Darkman rules.
Yeah. That's Durant. Larry Drake, is that Durant?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm excited about the Eternals because the cast looks amazing, and you got an amazing director, and her imagery is just great. Like I heard a story that Kevin Feige was like, "Hey, how did you get this sunset?" Like he thought they drew or created the sunset in this thing. It was so beautiful, and she's like, I waited till 7:15 and I filmed it. Like it was like a real sunset, but it was such a perfect image that he thought it was post effects, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, I just waited till the golden hour and I filmed at that time. And it's
like a musician.
And he's like, oh shit, this is the caliber of filmmaker that I'm dealing with on this thing. And apparently, I've never seen Nomadland that she won the award for. I haven't seen it yet. You saw it?
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a bunch of really beautiful images and things in that. And
very well shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw it, but apparently she brought a lot of that magic in, and there's a lot of good effects in there too. So I think having an amazing cinematographer mixed with badass effects is going to make for a badass movie. So I'm excited about that. I don't want to discount Venom because I'm a big Tom Hardy fan.
Venom's my pick.
And Venom looks fucking badass. The first one is hilarious, and the trailer for the new one, it looks really cool. And I think where I discounted Sony comic book movies, Venom kind of took a chance on their first one, and I think was pretty good. And I think after doing what they did on the first one, I think the second one is going to really kick ass.
Dude,
it looks badass.
When he's like, oh shit, it's a red one, and he like disappears. He's like, hey, where'd you go? No way. I'm not a fight. I'll let you eat everybody. All right.
It's funny. Part of it reminds me of a Little Shop of Horrors or something. You know what I mean?
Dude.
It's like it's
totally
fucking funny, man.
I think Venom definitely looks good, or better than I expect. Much better than I expected.
Yeah. I'm stoked. I want to be stoked on Eternals, but I'm kind of like, man, I'm kind of like anti. This is totally where Curtis and I diverge completely. I'm kind of anti-space comic. You know what I mean?
But this is gonna lead. This is gonna lead to everything.
It'll lead to mutants and everything.
Any future movie. That's like This is planting the seeds. Like it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be very good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a slow burn. Like I don't. But this is planting the seeds for every.
They're like the second tier
with one
most
movie.
Powerful. They're like the second most powerful group, like in the universe or whatever. So as far as like the tier of actual power players. And it's kind of like every character Superman. So I like have a hard time really getting into
you're
that.
Right. No, you're right. That's why the book never sold that well,
Yeah.
and they were kind of out of place. They didn't really belong. But
I like the idea of Black Bolt, but you know,
no, that's Inhumans. That's Inhumans.
Inhumans.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think that there's going to be a lot of confusion with the general. Talked about this last week on small screen. I think there's going to be a lot of confusion with the general public because this is an unknown
Very unknown.
group,
Very-
of characters, and people are going to see this.
Yeah.
They're going to see a guy with dark hair who can fly, who's really strong, who's got laser vision, and they're going to be like, "Oh, is this like Jupiter's Landing or
totally.
Superman?" You know what I mean? It's like it looks like not Jupiter's Landing, Jupiter's Legacy, which is like that Netflix show with a bunch of like you're like, "Oh, it's another superhero show, another one." You know what I mean? Like, oh, is that Homelander or whatever his name
Yeah,
is?
totally.
Or you're like, okay, I've had it with all these superheroes. Here's another group I have to learn, and this guy with laser vision, and cool. And I think there's going to be a little bit of confusion with that. But I want before we jump out of this topic to the closer, Curtis, what were you about to say? Because
Well, no,
I feel like Budro is like, dude, can we get back to horror or I got to go to bed?
Yeah.
I was gonna say something. We can go back to horror though.
No, what?
Hey, Budro, did
no.
you know? Wait, real quick. Did you know that they remade Martyrs in 2016 or something like that?
Did they?
Exactly. I never saw it. I didn't know anything about it, but they remade it, and I'm like, apparently it's awful, of course. But
I know the original. I didn't know that they did a remake.
I know the original's amazing. Like it was beautiful and like horrible at the same time. Like they remade it, and it just came and went. Anyway, but so yeah, the Eternals was created by Jack Kirby. It's basically, if you read the New Gods from DC, it's kind of his. He kept trying to redo the same story over and over again, with. And then he actually did it again with another comic book company. It's just, as a writer, he's like kind of like a deep dive guy. He wanted to create his own universe. He kept trying to do it over and over and over again, and getting it to fit into everything else was always hard. So the seeds that he planted grew into fucking like so many things in the Marvel universe, but the overall arcing story just didn't really fit. So the MCU can take it and streamline a lot of stuff and make this stuff work so well. Okay. But if they do it like the comics, it's not really going to work, because it's basically creating another universe. That's what he kind of always wanted to do.
I want it to be good. I want it to be good.
I think
but-
I think jam packing the cast with super A-list people, and then also getting the top director in the world for this year is a pretty good way to tell a difficult story.
You mean like Waterworld?
Sedaris came back to direct.
Yeah. I also, before we switch to the last topic, I wanted to say that we shouldn't discount Shang-Chi. All of the reviews I've heard for Shang-Chi are saying it's like the best comic book or the best martial arts movie since The Raid. That it's just like fantastic, and beyond that, there's a huge fantasy element to this that's like Chinese fantasy that is just like off the hook, and it's supposed to be a fantastic movie. So
Mystical.
I'm very excited to see that. Like
Michelle Yeoh, I want to see her again in a movie.
It's like the like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of stuff. Like it's going to be really fun. It's not. You're also going to get those Jackie Chan Rumble in the Bronx,
yeah.
On the bus type of things. But then it does some other crazy fantasy shit that's supposed to be badass.
Do not discount Shang-Chi.
That's
Yeah,
right.
do not. So, and speaking of
Mystical.
what do you guys think about Ghostbusters Afterlife? Any thoughts? Anybody? Have you guys seen the trailer?
I have. I'm pretty stoked on it.
I'm super stoked on it. I saw that trailer. The first trailer was pretty good, and they had the little mini marshmallow guys, and then they had the last trailer that had Ecto-1 doing donuts in Ecto-1, and it looks fantastic. And also, they recently, it was today or yesterday, Sony had their presentation at CinemaCon, and they played the movie for everyone at CinemaCon, like all the participants got to see it, and so now people were playing their like post viewing reactions. They're like, we're not doing a review yet. I just want to tell you, I shit my pants.
Whole
Like
bunch of people,
everyone shit their pants. Like
whole
they
bunch of people
loved
crying like they saw Luke Skywalker.
yeah, exactly. So that got me even more pumped. I'm like, yes, it's gonna be good. So, what do you guys think? Or what do you think, Budro?
I mean,
It's ambitious, right?
I mean, it's Ghostbusters and it's Paul Rudd. Like, if you're gonna,
and it's also Ivan Reitman's son directing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
part
what
of the family.
That's what hooked me. Actually, I was like,
So,
all right.
yeah, I hope it does well. I mean, I really don't. From what I've seen and from what I've gathered, from what I've read, it seems to have a lot going for it. You know, especially continuing the legacy of the original four Ghostbusters. So I hope it does well. I really do. I'm really looking forward to it. And, you know I'm going to watch it. You know, I don't know if a younger generation or the current generation is really going to appreciate it as much, but I think they'll like it because it has likable characters. It's going to have, really cool like effects and stuff like that. And maybe it'll get them to go back and watch the original. Maybe not. Yeah. But I think hopefully that's what it'll do, So I mean, I have, nothing but good hopes for it. I really hope that it does well.
Curtis, are you stoked for the new Ghostbusters?
Well, I am. So
Curtis hates everything.
I do hate everything. Everything new, at least. If it's old, it's good. No, I definitely am. But I just so a couple things. Again, I don't know, like where besides this nostalgia factor, where are they going with this? I want it to do well. I'm gonna go see it. I'm probably gonna enjoy it. But besides the nostalgia factor, where are they going with it? And I wonder. So now that if we're talking about this, like I really don't understand. Like, why did everybody hate the remake one with all the girls?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Like,
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
Like people were staunchly and just doggedly against this thing, and I didn't see it in theaters or anything. But I bought a DVD pack and I watched it. And it's a good movie.
I thought Chris Helms was fucking brilliant.
It's a reboot. And we live in a world where reboots are fucking diamond. They're everywhere. But this one comes out and they're like, oh my God, this is sacrilege. If you don't like it significantly, you don't have to like it. I'm not saying you have to, but like people were just going nuts. And I mean, I just don't know what they're doing with it. I think like a lot of this stuff they're just pushing out just to get old people into theaters. And it kind of bugs me a little bit. I hope that's not the case with this one, but like, where are they going to go with this? Like, kind of like Budro was saying, I don't think a lot of people are going to jump on. Younger people are going to jump on board and kickstart this franchise.
I think it's very much like the Solo movie. It's like even though it was a good movie, dude. I don't care what anybody says. Solo was a good movie, but you can't replace Harrison Ford. You can't like, you know what I mean? And it's like trying to do Indiana. It's like trying to redo Indiana Jones with a different guy. People are like, I don't know. Yeah. Trying to do Han Solo with this. Who is this guy? They got no business recasting him. Just leave it alone. That's the mentality a lot of people have. So they tried to redo Ghostbusters and people didn't like it. This one is not a rebranding or a redo. This is a reboot. It's a continuation.
I think Curtis is going to make you say the quiet part out loud.
Go ahead.
I was just sexist thing.
Is it? Do you think it's a sexist, like a war of the sexist?
Because and it's not. So if you watch it and you're just like, I just don't like it. That's okay. I don't care.
I think
like,
the nerds that were
really
upset about it.
But there were people who were like, they're like, I'm not watching it.
Yeah, totally.
I will not disgrace my eyeballs with this movie. And
I am not going to wash the Cheeto dust off of my fingers to push play on this one.
I don't get it. Like it was an enjoyable movie. I like the first one, the original better. Like, okay,
Yeah.
but
There are certain audiences on social media that subscribe to certain channels and have certain opinions, and that's a blanket statement for a lot of different categories.
Yeah.
And those people are
so thank you, Clint, for describing life.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying those people that have certain opinions and they watch the same people that tell them that they're not supposed to like something because of whatever stupid reason, and they watch all the time, and every time something like Ghostbusters, like that, somebody's going to tell them like, guys, did you see what they did? Oh, they're doing a you know what they're doing? They're trying to erase men.
Like
They're
if this was a whole thing
this
and-
was a conspiracy. We're going to erase. They're trying to blah blah blah, and they're staining the franchise and all this shit that they do. And people will preach things and get people wound up. Yeah, you know
Outrage.
what?
Yeah.
You know what? Like, oh yeah, the glass ceiling and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. They're preaching all this stuff, but you know what? Who the most underappreciated people are? Just normal dudes.
Yeah.
And
I
they
brought
get
my own torches.
yeah,
So-
and
You guys like
they
this?
get people fired up, and then when you have disenfranchised people that are motivated by their YouTube leaders, they are the loudest people and this is not just that demographic. There's a bunch of different specific demographics, but nothing is louder than somebody on a YouTube channel that tells their audience what to say and what to think, and then they go out and they tweet outrage and all that. So all this crap, it's you. They call. So I heard somebody talking about it the other day. They call it the 300, and it's like really. It sounds like it's a million people, but it's really only like 300 people that don't have
I believe
lives.
that. I
That don't
absolutely
have
believe that.
lives, and they're tweeting away and hashtagging away because they got nothing better else to do, and that's basically
Now-
what it is. That's
But
what it is.
Since we've got Budro here,
Yeah, Butcher's probably getting tired. He's like, man, you guys talk too much.
I'm
He didn't know he fucking signed
I'm a
up.
tired
You
old
signed
man
up
as
for
well.
a marathon.
Motherfucker.
Marathon.
So now Budro, when it comes to like stuff like Halloween and the new Halloween's coming out, to a degree, like so they're good movies potentially, but like I grew up watching all the shitty movies and those were part of my repertoire. Like I want to see a sequel to the Thorn saga, like
Mhm.
and crap like that. And when they come out and reboot and it's basically like all that stuff, it's just washed away. Like it kind of really bothers me now. Like okay, yeah, the reboot's good and it's a direct sequel to whatever wherever you want to fit it in, and the storyline will work better. But like to me, the other ones were sequels as well. So like all that stuff just is gone now. Like it bothers me a little bit. It really bothers me a little bit. How do you feel about that? I assume you watch the crappy horror movies as well as the good ones?
Yeah, absolutely. I've never. That's a really difficult question to answer because I've always put myself in the shoes of the current filmmaker, and what would I do if I were to be given this opportunity? So I actually had a chance I actually interviewed Jamie Lee Curtis and Danny McBride and the other writer for when they premiered it here, and in that sense, when I talked to them on camera for an interview, they really gave the notion of, we made this for the fans. It was written by fans. It was created for fans specifically. And I think for that certain film, it worked because it was created out of the love of the genre, out of the love of the characters, and not necessarily because I think it's a perfect time to bring it back financially. But it is a fine line because you have all these fans that have followed all these films for years, and it's difficult to, how do we approach that? How do we do that? I think if you have the right story, you have the right characters, and meaning if you have the right characters, you have the right archetypes. If
Mhm.
you have the right archetypes, it can work. Um, you know, I don't think remaking Big Trouble in Little China, even if it does star The Rock, will work. You know, and that's who is in talks to do it.
Oh no.
I think more like
no,
Chris
Like,
from Guardians of the Galaxy would be a better
yeah,
Chris
actor.
Pratt.
even then,
Oh,
right?
Chris
Chris
Pratt.
Pratt,
You
perfect,
need-
better than yeah.
But
You
you know,
need
you know what I
every
mean?
man,
Like,
yeah.
if you bring back Michael Myers in a direct sequel, then I think you might actually get the following. You might get the people that
Mhm.
say, you know what? Okay, let's see what this is. If you bring up something like Big Trouble in Little China, where there's not as big of a following and there's not as big of a series of people and fans, then at that point, I think it's just, well, let's just make it just to remake it. You know,
Right.
I think that's the distinction. And I
Dude.
think if you have the right amount of people and following and passionate people behind the project, you know, it's not just a fan film. It's something that a lot of people really put a lot of effort to, and you know, and then we'll see. You know, obviously Halloween the remake, if you want to call it the remake or the next chapter, whatever it is in 2018, you know, it was well done. I liked it. I haven't watched it in a while, but I know I'm probably going to see the new one. You know,
Yeah.
um,
And
you
that's
know,
I thought it was a good film as well. It's just like certain things. They're not only are they discounting all the obviously cash in sequels that I fell in love or grew up with and like ended up liking, but they're like H2O was a huge big budget movie and they're just like, well, that one doesn't count either. And it just like, uh, and it's not just how I'm picking on Halloween a little bit, but it's like all of them are doing that now, and it's like it kind of bugs me a
it
little bit.
it
It's
it,
like
it does dilute
it's
it.
like you're
It dilutes.
gentrifying my fucking movies. Like, don't
It
gentrify
dilutes the
my movies.
franchise. I know exactly what you're saying. It's diluting the franchise, and it's, you know, in a way, it's well, you know, a lot of people they're the not an excuse, but the response is we're trying to update it for a newer generation because we don't want these
And
films to be forgotten. So, and I get that, you know, I guess again, it goes back onto which characters you're keeping alive, so to speak, which
Right.
franchises you're keeping alive. And, you know, I think Halloween is obviously one of those franchises that's going to keep going. You know, they tried to reboot, you know, years ago, I think it was 2010s or whenever it was, when they said, you know what, we're going to do a reimagining of Nightmare on Elm Street. We're going to do a reimagining of Texas Chainsaw. We're going to do a reimagining of, what's the other one? Oh, Friday the 13th, you know, and majority of those really bombed really bad because those are franchises that people love dearly.
Seminal.
And they're connected with actors, with certain actors. And
Well, and don't and just don't, if it's already good, don't remake it. Like it,
right.
and that's, I think that's why Halloween is at least it had some success because they're making direct sequels too.
Correct.
Like the first one stands alone, and they carry on from there.
Correct. What I
There
mean, like I love one of my favorite, and I think Clint, I've told you this before, that one of my favorite directors, one of my biggest influences in filmmaking, period, is Samuel Bayer. And if you guys know who Samuel Bayer is, he directed tons and tons of music videos in the 90s. He did, the original Zombie by the Cranberries. He did Until It Sleeps by Metallica. He did a bunch of Marilyn Manson videos. He did Smells Like Teen Spirit, he did tons of those fucking music videos, and I love him. He's the guy that did Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake. And
I liked it, dude.
And so it's kind of like, you know what, it to me personally, it didn't always work. And even though he was a great, amazing craftsman in my eyes, I don't think it was in the right hands.
He did
as much as I love him.
Losing My Religion, right? I think he did that one too.
No, that was Tarsim. That was a different Indian director.
I love when I look up a director and I look at their IMDb and I start scrolling and looking down and I get to the bottom and then there's a whole bunch of music videos listed because that's like it's almost a lost art. It's like music videos are disappearing. You know what I mean? But that's
I love music videos. They're a huge influence on my work.
Vignettes, they're vignettes. They're fucking cool.
And a majority of my work is short film, is short narrative, and with my other love being music, you know, I love bringing those two ideas together. And by creating music videos, I love making music videos. I've been doing them for years, you know, and so that's why it's how can we make a cool looking short film that also has music in it?
Why has
You know?
nobody remade Rocky Horror Picture Show in today's climate?
I don't think it'll work. I
No?
just don't think the characters are relatable to anybody now. That's what I think. I don't think they are, but you know, I certainly think you can cast it. You know what I think it would work if you know how like NBC does all these live action remakes of like Gone with the Wind, not Gone with the Wind, Sound of Music,
Oh yeah, where it's one
and
take.
Grease,
It's like all one.
and
Yeah.
yeah, like I think it would work like that.
Hmm.
I don't think it would work as a movie, you know.
You don't think
But
so?
that's
With
just
like
me.
Timothy Charlemagne or something playing fucking
Jack Black, Jack Black again.
Yeah, he could do the meatloaf part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jack Black can do anything.
he can fucking do anything. That's right.
yeah. But no, I mean, it like I love music videos, and I don't know why we're talking about music videos again, but like, anyways, like, yeah, I think I also think it's a dying art, but I think it's still relevant, and I think it's a great,
Dude,
it's a great way to push artistry.
Next time we crank some music out, Dustin and I are going to have to get you to do a video for us.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be
absolutely.
awesome.
I'd love to do that. I
That'd
would
be
love
awesome.
to do that.
Be fun. We got to come up with a fun storyline to be cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. Hey, where'd Curtis go? We lost Curtis.
Man down.
While he's away,
I'm Rocky Horror, and he walked away.
He was like,
Yeah,
I'm out. He just ran out.
Fucking out.
He's running down I-10 down the road. All right, let's. I'm gonna do a quick reminder to everybody at home. If you want to help with the channel, guys, take a second to share this with your friends on social media. Click the notification bell so we can let you know about future videos and live streams. Guys, that's how this channel grows, is with you guys helping us out. And we appreciate everybody who's shared us in the past. And look for verses. Actually, if you go to Clint Baker, YouTube.com, Clint Baker channel is where we're at on YouTube. I had to remember.
He stroked out.
No, I did stroke out for just a second.
Older.
Yeah, it's the Clint Baker Show on Facebook, and the OG Clint Baker on both Twitter and Instagram. You can message us if you have any suggestions for things you want to see on future shows, or you have any comments about this. Put them down in the comments, and if you got anything, we can check out the comments and put them on future episodes. We do this every Tuesday night, and we're happy to have you watching right now. Curtis, how was your break, man?
Did I say Rocky Horror Picture Show? And you had to go punch something.
A little bit. Now, actually, don't worry about your senior moment there, Clint, because obviously our first sponsor needs to be adult diapers for me.
Yeah, it depends.
Well, that all depends.
I try, guys. I just
did you go try Candyman?
Yeah,
totally.
I'm not saying it more than twice.
Each time I go, I say it one time. So it's like I'll go and then one time and then one time.
Beetlejuice.
I don't.
Beetlejuice.
Nice.
Beetlejuice.
Budro, you gonna hang for a sec afterwards?
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
we're actually about to shut it down and go off the air, and then we'll all still be on the horn here, so we can have any conversations.
Then we do our crosstalk, and if you want to hear that, go to our Patreon page.
Yes, it.
Where we go another 2.5 hours.
Totally.
Did you have any, Curtis? I saw you do that. Did you have it before we sign off? Did you have anything to say?
No, I was telling Budro just for.
Oh yeah, we're good. And guys, does anybody want to share any social media, or Budro, you want to talk about your Facebook or social media or anything to reach you, because you've got the new Backroom documentary in the works. You've always got a bunch of good stuff in the works. Tell people where they can find you and what to look out for those who need to learn about the badass filmmaker Budro Partida.
Oh, well, thank you. Right now, really, just everything's going full speed with Bloody and Bruised, the documentary, The Untold Story of the Backroom. Go check it out, bloodyandbruised.com. We're at the very, very tail end of production, of principal photography rather, and then before we go into post-production, Clint Baker is our narrator for that film. Both Clint Baker and Dustin Stroud are in the film. Lots of great stuff coming. So please check it out, bloodyandbruise.com.
Yeah. And guys, on this channel, on Facebook, on the Clint Baker channel, I'll be posting any Bloody and Bruised stuff, and on my own personal. So if you haven't followed me or Penny Rock Productions or Budro, get your asses on there and find us. Alrighty, do a search, you'll find us. Dustin, where can they find you?
Find me here every Tuesday.
Yeah. Curtis, how about you, bud? Where can they find you? He's a professional. He doesn't like to give his secret alias.
My secret alias is Dustin Stroud.
Yeah. You may
Candyman.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you want to actually find Dustin, say Dustin Stroud in the mirror 5 times, and he will appear. How about you, Curtis?
But only if you throw FU money at him.
That's
like,
right.
He'll
That's right.
appear, and then he'll kind of like just smile at you and be like, "Hey, what's up?" And then you like throw money at him. He's like, "You motherfucker!"
Yeah.
But I'll be here Tuesdays. That's about it, man.
All right.
We're adults, man.
CB3.
Don't put us on Front Street.
Hey, dude.
What the fuck, man?
I screwed up. I have a. Hold on. We gotta get Curtis's artist name here.
Wait for
At
it.
the end of the
CB3,
show?
that's right.
CB3.
Really?
I've been calling him Curtis the whole time. Shame on me. All right, gang. What were you gonna say, Curtis?
Next
No.
time I'm coming in as Cortez Panadero. So
Nice.
Yes.
That was CB4. Straight out of low cash.
I like to say my last name is Torres. Do the math.
Yeah.
All right, gang. On that note, we're out of here, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Versus, and we will see you every Tuesday night with kick-ass talking points and fun stuff. All right, on that note, let's get the hell out of here. Dustin, you ready to get out of here?
I'm ready to get out of here, man.
All right, fucking see you guys later. Peace.